motherfucker?
Hold up, I hope y'all watching this shit.
First round, real quick.
That are in those training rooms with them know how big.
Because he just knocked these out real quick in the first round.
Yeah, but now we're gonna get a good.
I fuck with this guy.
To me,
I thought he was a con artist, just based off his looks.
They're at edge.
holy shit! What the hell just happened?
What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome to G.W.R. Gonzo's Wrestling Room. I'm Chris. Got Steve in here with me like normal. We got special guest. Wrestling name, you said J.H. Hogg?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Man, in the
Yeah.
building.
I just knew you guys your, what do you call it, shoot name, regular name?
Right. Yeah. Glad to be here, guys.
Hey, appreciate you coming in,
Yeah,
man.
no problem.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, come over from Kokomo. Seeing parts of Muncie that I ain't never seen before.
So you said took you through downtown?
Take me through downtown, put me here and there, I actually passed up the building here and had to go back around. I'm like, okay. So it made it actually easier because it says it comes in and it's like, yeah, it's right there on the right. So then I kind of like creep up a little bit and I'm like, I hope they got the damn address out there so I can see, because as everybody can see from the picture, you know, I'm a lovable hillbilly.
I think I think my number is missing a number or two on the
Nah,
house.
it's actually like half. So it's like the 2's there and like the top part of the 3 and the 0's are there. So it's all good, but you know, I mean, it's like can't go wrong with the GPS. So yeah. So
how long have you been in the wrestling business?
yeah. 6 months shy of 30 years. So I started in 92, June of 92, actually, which 2022 would have been the 30th year. But thanks to Mike King, I can never be a in-ring performer again because the show that you guys attended, Mike King actually done the deed, man, to take me out of the wrestling business. So, yeah, so hats off to Mike King. You know, you kind of done one, man, but you know, I mean, it's like, I'd kind of been dormant for, you know, I mean, like a year and a half, a little bit longer than that, because I'd done a little spot this year. The major plan was to try to come out and try to have one more last match, actually, which would have been in, you know, a couple weeks ago, which would have been our last show. But around, you know, probably June, July, it was kind of like, it's not going to happen. It's not possible. So we kind of figured out kind of a way, you know, to try to basically end the J.H. Hogg character and put him down as, you know, his legacy gone. And, you know, we move on with the Aacw. Where J.H. Hogg will be written out of storylines and stuff like that. So basically the guys can continue to do stuff. They don't need me around to be a character, especially you know, one that people can identify with. But when you kind of leave a legacy and stuff like that, man, you know what I mean? Because Kokomo is my hometown, Aacw, our promotion, basically, you know, I wanted to base it in Kokomo. Didn't want to go too far outside because, you know, I mean, that's I got my start in Kokomo with a local promoter, Bad Boys of Wrestling, Johnny Osborne. And we had some guys come in through Kokomo that done some nasty deeds and kind of put a black mark on actually, we had one promoter at least try to do 2 legend shows, and you know, he really put a black ball on pro wrestling for Kokomo. So, you know, I mean, when we come back up and I started doing some shows in I started Aacw up in 2014. Done one show in 2014. Had a pretty good turnout. Put myself in a position to further it with like a local bar in town at the time, was called Center Stage. done like 3 or 4 shows there. I had 6 that was slotted there for that year, but due to scheduling conflicts, we could only do like 2 or 3 shows. There was some stuff going on with the owner of the building and the tenants that was there, and so basically, we done like, I think it was 4 shows. And I mean, like I said, this my whole wrestling career and stuff has been a tribute to my father and his love for the business, because my dad was I mean, as all of us do growing up, pretty much our family actually gets us involved in this business basically by their love. So my dad had an opportunity in years past, I mean, when he was a teen, and he was at a live wrestling show in Kokomo at the Armory, and Dick the Bruiser's, his brother-in-law was actually scouting out for talent at the time, and my pops, he was standing at the drinking fountain, and Bruiser kind of gave him a nod to go over and talk to him, and see if they could get something going on, I mean, and my dad's like, well, he's like, the guy's like, comes over to him, he's like, hey, Bruiser wants to talk to you at the end of the night. So I mean, he's like, oh, okay, really, I mean, he's fired up, man, excited and shit, because I mean, he's got an opportunity possibly to, so I mean, they at the end of the show and stuff, they go over and he introduces Bruiser, goes over to my house, and my grandmother's house, and my grandmother, I mean, she never ever, there was a time that she didn't ever watch Dick the Bruiser on TV. I mean, it's like my grandma, you go over there wrestling, man, the WWA here in Indiana with Bruiser's promotion, bro. My grandma was the actual wrestling fan. She, I mean, she had her rocking chair. She'd rock back and forth and have her cane there. And you got in front of the TV, she'd whack you with the cane to get you the hell out of the way. I'm watching Bruiser, but I mean, yeah, she hated Bruiser. And Pops, he missed that opportunity because she didn't want to have him move forward and do anything as far as getting in the business. So I had an opportunity, and my Pops is like, I'll try to do everything I can to make sure that happens. So when I got that, that conversation, when it started up, my mom and my Pops, my dad kind of basically just, kind of settled down a little bit and see, was like, hey, let's see where he goes with this, and let's see if he can get into it. So local promoter, after I graduated from high school, local promoter, I mean, because I've been going to the shows, man, helping set up and stuff for, years. And, my Pops and stuff, we'd be going there and watching all the shows and stuff. So basically, help setting up the ring, help tearing down and doing, setting up chairs and shit like that. So eventually he's like, hey, you want to start working out, get in the business? I'm like, sure, no problem. So I was there 100%. So once that happened, my Pop stood by me 110%. My biggest fan, my ride or die till his death. And, I mean, it's like, great guy, man. Great. I got a lot of great stories that I could get into, over the years, because almost 30 years, man, I've had opportunity to be on shows with superstars and guys that I thought that I'd never ever be able to share the locker room with. And then, some of the indie guys that's come through the area at different times, such people as I mean, guys that I have in my locker room right now with Justin Terrell, one of my, biggest stars, and Christian Cash. I actually had a Christian, I got like a little inside story about that. I mean, these guys, and then, I mean, being on shows with Ladies Man Mike King, and then doing shows with, Tommy Gage. Let's see. Been on shows with Midian, had Midian on my shows. Chris Owens, as a matter of fact, come and done some shows for me before. Not really sure what happened there. But I was going to let him run with our championship, but I mean, he never come back, I guess, because he didn't like his situation in Aacw. But that is what it is. I guess if he has some heat with me, we can basically just talk about it later on down the road and see what's up. But I feel I'm a pretty easy guy to get along with, because guys come in and work for me, man. I try not to restrict their character in any way, and let them try to be who they are and what they need to do to continue to push that character forward. But you know, a lot of guys in this business, you know, I mean, you as a promoter, as a worker, you do get heat, you do get hate coming from people, and you know, I mean, people have their own stories. People say, well, Hog, you know, he's a promoter and he doesn't pay people. Well, you know, I mean, I will put it to you like this: comes time for a payout, there might be a possibility where I just kind of look you over and miss. But if you guys contact me, you know, I mean, if you contact me, we talk about it, you'll get a payout, you know, one way or the other. I'm not a dickhead. I worked a lot of shows in when I started this promotion. I worked a lot of shows for free. And nobody should ever have to work shows for free. But in the other instance too, if you think you're worth a guarantee, man, I feel, my personal opinion was, if you feel you're worth a guarantee of money, you better bring people in to set in the stands that makes you, you know, pay for your guarantee. I mean, that's the way I feel. You know, I get it. Guys think, you know, but you can't, you know, I mean, if you're on the indie circuit, in my eyes, you better have some other kind of job to back it up, because you ain't going to make a living at this job. I don't care how good you are or how good you think you are. You can't pay your major bills on just, you know, I mean, just doing wrestling alone. I mean, you got to have another job. So, I mean, a lot of guys think that they're worth a little bit more than what they really are. And, you know, I never put a guarantee on my money, on my work. Which, you know, I feel that I would have been worth one bill just for my character, not so much my wrestling ability, and because I couldn't wrestle worth a lick, man. You know what I mean? But my character, yeah. I mean, my character left a lot. I mean, I wish that the people that wasn't able to see J.H. Hogg would have felt it. I mean, especially if I would have been able, you know, I mean, you guys just would have felt that coming to my show, me being on the card and being an entertainer, where if it's just like when my music kicks in, the people are just, they're there 100%. And they wait for me to come out and hit the curtain. It's like when that happens, it just goes crazy. So, you know, I mean, it's just, I was a lovable hillbilly. That's the way it is. But being a promoter, man, you have to make some decisions. It's going to piss some people off sometimes. And, you know, I mean, sometimes if you make the wrong decisions, you may never, ever get to go back over those lines where people see, you know, I mean, hey, like, he had to make the right decisions, what was good for the business at that time. So, you know, I mean, and I have made those decisions. And, you know, I've taken a lot of heat for that at times, but, you know, I mean, you know, I'm always a man of my word, and, you know, I try to help everybody out the best I can. But you do know in this business that, you know, some people are, you know, they're not only workers, they're not only, I mean, you know, like, this is a brotherhood with some people. And, you know, like I said, with me being out of the business right now, sometimes I've done a recent podcast Sunday, where basically I done, you know, I give some secrets to business away, and some people's like, you know, Shane, Hogg, what the fuck you doing? You know, I mean, it's like, can't do that. But I mean, it's like, people know. Average wrestling fan, I mean, you guys, before you guys got this gig, you guys probably knew exactly, you know, what wrestling was about. You know, I mean, let's take, you know, I mean, a recent thing that happened on Monday night with, you know, a fan jumping out of the audience with Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw.
That was crazy.
But in my eyes, I just looked at the video from a different angle, and to me, I thought from the looks of the video that basically I thought that Seth was actually looking for the dude to come get him. Like, the dude wasn't on his spot, like he wasn't there at times. So who knows what's going on with that? I mean, there's a lot of crazy things going on in our world right now. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, that's kind of funny, but, you know, I mean, this business, man, you know, it's been great to me, and this is the Thanksgiving holiday. So, you know, I have a lot to be thankful for about, you know, for Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So, you know, I mean, I know that's kind of like a little bit off your question where you went to, but your original question was how many years you've been in the business. But it was 6 months shy of 30 years.
I think you've had a little bit of a different story than some of the people we've talked to with that you had the support of your family from day one. Where we hear stories from a lot of these guys that, like, when they go tell their family, hey, I'm going to be a pro wrestler, some of them kind of like laugh at them or like try to talk them out of it. Usually they don't have their support at first, but they end up gaining it. So I think that's pretty cool.
Small town mentality.
I think it's pretty cool that you had the support from day one.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is I always had my pop support. You know, I mean, I sat there and I say that, you know, my mom, I believe, looking back, I think she was only at 2 shows, maybe 3 shows the whole time. And I was pretty active in Kokomo for, you know, I mean, for years. And not only Kokomo, you know, I'd done some shows in Ohio, Illinois, done a couple in some different areas too. So I mean, it's I was pretty active at the time. Basically had a stint with the promotion years ago in Wabash, Indiana. Excuse me. Wabash, Indiana, and done some stuff for a promotion out of Logan Sport. Some of these, I tend not to want to like give a shout out to them because I mean like I've had some over the time dealing with some of these people. I mean, some of the promoters tried to come in and snake some shit from me. Like I was running in Kokomo, and the guy that was running in Logan Sport basically tried to come in and steal my talent, steal my venue. Basically, he was at the show on a comp ticket for another wrestler, and he's handing out basic promotional, I mean his business cards, trying to steal my talent. And he even tried to steal my venue, but not knowing that the people that own the venue, basically how that was tied up, because they weren't only business people with me. I mean, they were extended family, brother and sister, because I've done a lot of shit with them, outside of wrestling. And but it is how it is. I mean, that's a business where this is a business where there's a lot of snakes, a lot of people you can't you can't trust. So that's why you got to kind of weed things out a little bit. And, I'm a person where, I believe in this business that when I started, and I believe, because you guys know that when you was at my show and you listened to me at the end when I was doing my retirement, basically my outs to the business speech, I was talking about, somebody believing in you and that same person giving you an opportunity. That's what this business was for me. So that's what I've tried to do for other people, is give them an opportunity. And I'm always going to have belief in somebody until somebody shows me any different. So I mean, it's like I had a lot of daddy. Like I'm not a father. I am a father to a four-legged son. So I got a Yorkshire who is my son, named Savage. After I think who is the greatest wrestling entertainer ever. Macho Man Randy Savage. But I mean, I had a lot of daddy moments, like daddy moments where I could be proud of people over the time that I've promoted Aacw. I mean, especially this last show, I had one big one that a gent that works at my factory that I work at. I've been at Red Gold Ketchup for 27 years, and if you guys go out there and go to some local restaurants, such as I know one that we have in Indiana is White Castle. So we actually produce the ketchup, so the PCs. So if you guys grab a ketchup out of their little box there, and it's the portion control ketchup, I probably had some part of like in the process of filling that and getting the ketchup to you on your French fries or your hamburgers. So I mean, that's. See, like I said, man, you can't make a living off pro wrestling, so you have to have a regular job. So, I mean, that's proof in the pudding there. So, but Cat, I mean, Aaron Cruz, whose wrestling name is Aacw Cruz, first match out of the gate, and you guys were saying the Colts need to look at him for, I mean, put him on the team, because he had a couple spears that dropped the dude out of his seat, out of his boots. So, I mean, good cat. I was able to give him his first experience in the wrestling ring.
I think Aacw really, something about him, just he lights up the room with his
bro.
Like, something about him, man. I think he has the the look.
Potential superstar, man. I mean, and I mean, it gives me, I mean, like I'm sitting here and I got goosies running over my arms and stuff. As giving this cat a chance to get out there and live his dream. Start his dream for him. I had another one to his second match, which was Dylan Lewis, whose name is Tyson Lane. He was actually in the tag team match against Jordan Bell and I call him Big Guy, the cat, the big dude that he got out of the audience the night of the show. And that was actually his first appearance in front of a live crowd.
big guy?
And yes.
Well, he done great for his first appearance.
And then, Dylan Lewis, which is Tyson Lane. He that was his second pro match, and years, man. I've been looking at this cat training, man, for months and months and months, and telling him, hey, you're show ready. You're 100% ready to be in front of a crowd. And he's like, I don't know about that. And it's like, bro. Once he hit that, the show before this last one, was actually his breakthrough. And, he actually, that was his first match, man, and he come out in a superstar, man, right out of the gate, bro. Like he had the fans on his side, the dude done what he's supposed to do. And these are two cats, that made me get proud daddy moments, because
Bell hadn't been in there real long either, has he?
Jordan, I think Jordan actually started Mr. Bill, Marvelous Mr. Bill. I think he actually started in ring performing probably about maybe 2 months prior to that. Okay. And he had been a character, which that character, it's funny because his character actually happened, and he was supposed to be like. It was supposed to be my weed out to the business, basically, was what it was where he was going to come in and take over the rights to the promotion as far as being being the commissioner. Well, that only lasted for one show because with this talk and everything he's got going on, bro, the people just love to hate that dude. Yeah. He gets a lot of heat, and that's a guy, whether or not you're getting the cheers or the boos from the fans. It's, whether you're getting the heat or the love, it's still, man, what that is, he's doing his job properly. And you guys know that.
Get a reaction.
Yeah, exactly. I cut him off, and I'm like, the people don't want to hear any more of you. They don't want to hear your shit. Get to the back,
And he gets so much heat, that's hard for him to get his stuff off because the crowd's going so crazy. It was neat to watch.
Yeah, most definitely. So I think moving forward with the promotion and stuff, I think we have to kind of figure out kind of a little bit like a little adjustment to his character, because I think we're going to have to put him more on the managerial side of things rather than having him be a guy that is in control of a promotion, because it's just like, he's got a chance to bloom at so much more and be a better, be such a great entertainer, man. He's been nothing but, humble and giving me the love back that, that people tend to forget that they got to, that when they kind of make it someplace or start to branch out and start getting some notoriety someplace else, some guys forget where you got your start. And I never done that, as you could see, because I give much love to my pops, because without him and the love that he instilled in me for this wrestling business, Aacw would have never been born. I would have never had a chance to go out there and give these guys an opportunity to perform, and also to by giving back by making basically the BBOW championship titles, putting them as a part of our championship and our legacy in AACW. That gets back to the guy that actually give me my start in this business. So, that's kind of like the feedback and kind of like the reward in this business is to give back to those who kind of give you your start and stuff like that.
Yeah, like when Marvelous Mr. Bill came on our show, he spoke real highly of you and talked about how you gave him his start and all that. Then, like you said the other day, you was on their podcast,
right.
Which I've listened to some of it. I still got to finish listening to all of it, but it was a good conversation.
Yeah, we went a little bit long. I've got a lot to say. I could talk for hours, bro. 2, 3, 4 hours. But pretty much after the first 30, 40 minutes, people kind of tend to tune it out a little bit. So, if we go a little bit over, man, which I've got all day, I don't know about you guys, but if we go over, you might have to break this one up into 3 or 4 different sessions so people can kind of get a grip. Let's just go out here and talk, man. Let's talk about wrestling. Let's talk about everything we can possibly talk about. I know this is a wrestling show, but
you brought up Mike King.
I did.
I know he had something to do with the end of your thing there, but how long have you known him, and did you guys wrestle against each other?
Yeah, man.
I know there was history there, but I really didn't know what the history was.
There's a lot of history there between the two of us. So yes, I've known Mike King, the ladies' man Mike King, for nearly probably, I want to say maybe 15 years. And my father, many shows, Mike seen my father sitting in the front row, and Mike got the double salute and maybe the cane across the back a couple times. My father, basically my father would basically, if he didn't like you, he'd double finger salute you. He'd give you the stone cold, and then he'd wrap his cane around your back, your back or any place else that could hit you. He'd swing that bitch, and most of the time he'd connect. And people would look at me like, hey, shouldn't be getting the heat. It's not my problem. I can't control him. But I've known Mike and for a long time, and Mike, we go way back. As a matter of fact, Mike has been instrumental in a lot of my losses. I don't really count wins and losses. I know as a performer for 30 years, I've had more losses than I have wins, but I'm still, it's how you do that. It's not, it's not like, okay, not being built a loser, but it's, a lot of times, man, it's been 2 or 3 on 1.
But to me, wrestling, record in wrestling doesn't
exactly.
It doesn't matter.
I know that's something that AEW does now, where they try to take track of the wins and losses. But you're going to forget about that, because if you win or you lose, to me it still feels the same.
About the story.
Yeah, it feels the same, because you're still going to have your fans regardless. And sometimes if you take the loss, you're doing your job by putting the guy over, giving him what he's supposed to do. You're giving him rubs. So, I was a good guy for that from the first time that I started out in this business, because, I put a lot of the guys over, man. And yeah, I had fun doing it, because, these guys with the storylines we had over the years, they deserved it, and it brought on to something more special. So, the thing about it is with Mike King has been, he actually, I lost my father in 2015 to basically he had his sickness that we didn't know about. We knew about him having dementia and stuff like that, but we did not know that he was eat up with cancer in many parts of his body and stuff. So, and every day, he still come out. He's still come out to, on a show day, man. He come out and he was a number one fan, my number one fan, always was. He literally wanted to step up and beat the ass if I was getting my ass kicked, like literally. He would literally step up to the ring. And there's a lot of times when Mike King would have been on the other end of that, and if my dad would have had a chance, he would have given more than just a goose. He probably would have ended up taking the end of that cane and sticking it up his ass and having somebody surgically remove it, because Mike has done a lot of great things for me, as far as, like I said, through this business, and not only be a great opponent and sharing the ring across from the guy, with Dice Man Ronnie Vegas back when we were running shows at Front Row Live, these guys actually, with Dice actually give me a lot of the opportunity to bring in stars such as the Barbarian, Rikishi, and Road Warrior Animal, which is that to me, man, is something really special. But Mike was always there. Mike was a part of the High Rollers along with Dice and Rob Kincaid, God rest his soul. But so therefore, we were always kind of pitted into the main storyline. So but going back to like before some of the superstar shows and stuff like that we had, Mike was actually instrumental in making my heavyweight championship reign come to an end by cracking me in the head, in the skull with a roll of quarters in a steel cage match. So yeah, he took the championship away from me. Yeah, it is what it is. Most of the time, I really feel like basically on the other end when I was staring, when we were pitted against each other, I think Mike mostly has probably 5 or 6 wins over me, which kind of now pisses me off a little bit, because he was the one that actually put me out completely. So Mike King, damn, bro.
And he was supposed to be on your team.
Yeah. Shiesty motherfucker he is. So Mike King, yeah, we're gonna have to do something about this. But like I said, I ain't coming at you as J.H. Hogg anymore. So, I mean, it is what it is, brother. But like I said, peace to you, my brother. I love you. Much, much love to you. And like I said, Dice Man Ronnie Vegas, he was a big part of our success by helping me bring in some of the stars, which was a great task for me because running like having shows with having these guys that's actually been to the big time and having them under your banner, having them a part of your roster on shows, that kind of that kind of gives a one up for your company a little bit. So yeah, I've had the opportunity through with that by having these guys on my shows, and Mike was always a part of that. But yeah, we had a lot of battles, Mike and myself. But yeah, he always kicked my ass, but he never done it fair. So that's the one thing he could never do is he could never beat me fair. It was always with the help of dice or with the quarters or something else. He never pinned my shoulders with a regular, legit, fair victory. 1, 2, 3.
Most of the wins I've seen of his haven't been clean.
Nah, shiesty ass bitch he is. But like I said, Mike, I love you, brother. You have been a part of my character and who J.H. Hogg has been, and like I said, I'm very pleased that I did share the ring with you on numerous occasions. And you just made a lot of stuff, man, great. We just had a lot of stuff that we shared some magic on some of the shows and some of the matches. Like I was in a tag team match with Barbarian was my partner against Mike King and Dice Man Ronnie Vegas, and then Justin Terrell, myself, and Rikishi went against the High Rollers, which was True Tradition, Rob Kincaid, Ladies Man Mike King, and Dice Man Ronnie Vegas. So yeah, those were special matches in my eyes because I always never felt that I could ever share the match at the same time with the guy who's always been on top. But it proved to me that those were 2 times that I actually was able to step in the ring and
it'd have to be cool to be in the ring with like the Barbarian or any of them guys. Road Warrior Animal, that would have been cool.
Well, to me that one was the special one because I got a chance to bring in a Road Warrior Animal, and being my father and myself's favorite, half of the favorite tag team of all time with us as the Road Warriors. I got to spend pretty much the whole day and just see what type of person Joe was, man. What kind of things that he give back to the business. I spent the whole day with him. We went and done a lot of publicity work and stuff down at Riley. He went down and actually we done some stuff setting with the kids for dinner and done some autograph signings and stuff like that. And Road Warrior Animal is a great dude and that was that show that he was on. Excuse me. That show that he was on actually was going to be like I was actually bringing a belt into my company, the Eternal Excellence Championship, in honor of my father. And that to me was like the greatest thing because the first champion in Aacw history for that championship, the EEC championship, was Road Warrior Animal. So he actually ended up winning the Battle Royal for that title. And later on he had to vacate that championship because he wasn't going to be able to come back. But he was the very first Eternal Excellence champion that we had. Okay. And so that was very special because that belt was brought on basically for to honor my father, and to have him, one of my father's favorites, workers in this business, to be the first champion was extra special for me. So that was a good point, a great point in my wrestling career. So yes, that was very special to me.
So we had a chance to GSR had a chance to go do a show with you guys, and the crowd was amazing. How hard is it to be able to an independent show to build a fan base and a crowd like that that's so invested in the show?
The Kokomo crowds, man, they're amazing every show that we have, whether or not they're, small crowds or big crowds. I mean, that one that you actually went to was probably our third standing room only show that we had from this year. And, I mean, even if it's a smaller crowd, they're still bringing the heat, bro. They're still loud as hell, I mean, they're still there. They're still feeling it. So, I mean, me, myself, when I like to get, we had this conversation, before we went live here, we had this conversation where, I like to tend to do things a little bit different than some of the other promoters. I like to run smaller venues so where everything looks more intimate and your crowd can be more of a part of your show and what's going on. Because I try to tell the guys that I've always had this belief that as an entertainer, you start in the ring and your crowd's outside, but by the time the end of your match comes, that you want the crowd to be right next to you inside in the middle of the ring. So that has a little bit different meaning to me than what it probably would some of the other guys. But, I mean, I kind of think things differently than other guys do anyway. But you just got to listen to the fans. I guess my answer to the question would be listen to the fans and kind of give them exactly pretty much what they want. And then, I mean, if you give them what they want, you're going to get the reaction that you really, I mean, the reaction that we got from them every show. I mean, if you guys know, I mean, it's like when we went through that show started out with our intro that we play. And then we had the national anthem, and then there was kind of like a little pause, and then all of a sudden you hear the marvelous Mr. Bell take over on the mic, and the fans just pop, they go crazy, and it's like they want from the time this dude the first word come out of his mouth, they're wanting him to shut the hell up, I mean, but he got some major heat, and he does that, and that's what I say, I mean. Jordan Bell, marvelous Mr. Bell. He's going to do great things. I have no doubt about that. Whether it be with the Aacw or it branches out to some other promotions and stuff like that. I mean, because he's a guy that's always willing to step in there and do the things that needs to happen to refresh and rebuild his character. And he's got a wonderful mind for the business because he's been a wrestling fan for years, and I mean. There's been a lot of times that guys come to me with ideas, not only him, but a lot of other guys, and they come to me with ideas, and it's kind of like they get discouraged because I kind of shoot them down a little bit. I'm like, that's not going to work right now. But it's not to say that we can't go back and, kind of retrace it for something else a little bit later. So,
Is it more of like a group thing that you guys come up with ideas for things, or is it mostly like you that comes up with most of the ideas for these matches and stuff?
This year, pretty much for what we were doing, everything that we done, I kind of had I had a couple guys that worked together as far as basically the final say actually comes through me. But some guys, I like to have guys in feed and give their ideas and stuff to other people. But we did have a couple guys that were working together to try to make sure, before the final product actually got out there, they kind of agreed to it, and then they brought it to me, and then we ran with it. So, I had a couple guys that was working creative. Like I said, that they were doing creative and stuff, and some guys didn't actually bring the stuff through them, which kind of caused some friction and stuff. But, I think there was 3 or 4 matches, our last match where I think our last show where there were 4 or 5 nut shots, and they were each boom, boom, boom. One match, the second match had one, the third match had one. So it's that was basically that part of it was I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, okay, are we going to have a nut shot every show? On every part, every someplace throughout the match.
Not communicating.
Yeah. I think that you know, I mean, but some of those times, man, some of that stuff can be lost in translation throughout things. I mean, because like I said, man, I'm a firm believer that in this business you don't work, you know, like if you got to, you like, you can't go and do your whole match. Like you wouldn't be able to go out there and try to create your whole match before you get out there and do it in front of a live crowd, because there's going to be spots that are forgotten. There's going to be spots that are missed, and you just can't create that magic. Like, I don't believe you can create that magic like 2 times. Like, you can't do it like it. I don't know. Sometimes you can, because it depends. Like if you're running, you know, if you're like in a story with somebody, yeah, each match you can create magic. But as far as like trying to create something and work it out before it's actually done, I don't think that like the magic can be created more than once. I think it's like on the fly thing that you've got to have that magic, and it's got to come in there. So,
because like even doing this, since we started doing the commentating and doing this podcast, we don't have a script that we go, hey, we're going to go exactly like this every day. We get on, guest comes in, and we talk.
Exactly. That's usually,
you don't restrict yourself.
Exactly. When you do that and you have that freeway to do stuff like that, I think that's where magic can actually happen, because, you know, I mean, like, you have different personalities. Like I asked you before, I'm like, will people get offended if I kind of like, if I slip up on some F-bombs and stuff like that? And it's like, no, because my mother turns me out and she hits mute when when she hears my opening, because she thinks I cuss too much, and I'm like, well, my mom thinks the same thing, so it's all good. But so man, I'm having a hell of a time, guys. Let's keep it going, you know.
J.H. Hogg, man.
Yes, sir.
What's the greatest match you've ever seen?
The greatest match I've ever seen.
Is
that like the greatest match I've ever seen, like in my whole wrestling
ever? It could be a show that was at one of your shows, or the biggest show ever.
Personally, I think the greatest match that I've ever seen, knowing that I'm a huge Randy Savage fan. When Randy Savage beat Ric Flair at WrestleMania in Indianapolis, that was like the greatest moment for me, because, you know, being in attendance and seeing that, man, and, you know, I mean, got goosies again.
You was at WrestleMania?
I was at WrestleMania, yes, sir, in
That'd
Indianapolis.
Be awesome.
Yes,
look for you in there.
it was great. I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to see me. This was, I believe that was back in '92, right? That was, I think that one was back in '92. So I would have just been fresh out of high school, just getting ready to start my journey as a pro wrestler. So yeah, I mean, you know, and when Randy, you know, when he beat Ric Flair, I was the happiest dude alive, bro. I mean, I wasn't a little bit more happy than my cousin, because I was with 2 of my cousins. I mean, you know, it was kind of messed up because how the whole thing happened. You know, I mean, my mom had, you know, we had bought in the tickets for WrestleMania for quite some time, and I had me and my dad and my cousin was going, and we had another cousin that wanted to go, but he had to get a ticket later. So, you know, and I always like to share shows and stuff, you know, with my pops, and I always loved sitting with him. And that's the first time that like I wasn't able to like share one of the biggest moments, because of the fact that, you know, I mean, my pops took my cousin's ticket. And he actually had a decent ticket too, because he was like right above where they had the announcers, which was Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan at the time. So he was right there able to hear stuff and you know, I mean, hear like the different stuff, which was kind of cool. But you know, I mean, me and my cousin and my cousin Daryl, bro, when that shit happened, my cousin Daryl, you know, I mean, like, he jumps up in the air, bro, and he jumps up in the air like in you know, in celebration, and he ends up falling on his ass and rolling like 3 fucking rows down below us, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And so, you know, I mean, that to me had to be like the greatest. That was the greatest wrestling match I had ever seen. But I'm gonna, like, the greatest match that I was ever involved in, I think that in my wrestling career was against Troy Miller at Front Row Live, basically when my pops was just going crazy because Troy was getting some major heat, man. He was getting some major heat on me, just kicking my ass all over the place, and I'm loving it. I'm like, man, I could go 45 minutes. And they ain't too many things in my life, man, because I'm a fat dude. The only thing I'm going to go 45 minutes at is running to the buffet line, getting my plate full time and time again. But, you know, I mean, Troy's like, we got to take this home, man. We've got to take this home. We're going to start a riot in this bitch. If we don't get out of here, we are going to, you know, they're going to riot. And, you know, I mean, that was like one of the funnest matches, you know, I mean, that I was ever a part of. But, you know, there have been other ones, you know, I mean, that one to me was like the best because knowing the situation with my pops, having, you know, cancer, and being ate up with cancer and him still going out there, man, trying to fucking beat Troy's ass. You know, I mean, that was very special to me because, literally, you know, I mean, it was awesome. And then, you know, being a part of, like I said earlier, being a part of the tag team match with the Barbarian and then the 6-man tag team match with Rikishi, that was very special to me. And then I guess as a promoter, not being a part of an entertainer, I guess that I'm kind of like stretching this out a little bit because I give you 3 different options. You asked me for one, and I give you a little bit extra. So I'm not just like a meat and potato type of guy. I'm like, you know, I give you the whole thing, bro. Like my favorite match as far as being a promoter and being involved in the promoter wise is the Fans Bring the Weapons match between Christian Cash, Justin Terrell, and Brody Bodkins. That was very special to me because I feel in my heart and in my mind, and a lot of people tell me that this is wrong for you to do that, but I feel like that is the greatest match and will never be able to, like, that match would never, ever be able to top in an AACW arena ever again because just the shit that them guys brought that night. I mean, like, Christian goes through a flaming table and, you know, I mean, they basically put Brody out, man, from unconsciousness. And, you know, I mean, them guys just brought the heat, man. And if you guys haven't if you guys haven't seen that match, it's probably on our AACW Old School Lives Facebook page, and hopefully you guys can take a look at it and see it. And that actually put us on Amazon Prime because Christian Cash is also he's a performer, you know, wrestling performer. He's a rapper and he's an actor. And that episode is on Amazon Prime. AACW is there in Canary currency. So, yes, that to me, man, gives me a proud moment too because, like, without that shit, we wouldn't have ever, like, that wouldn't have been a part of something that's like on Amazon Prime. So
is that at the same building?
Yes, that was at the Alliance Event Center, and I believe that was like.
I wanted to check that match out. I haven't seen that one yet. I saw some pictures because I saw Brody face all bloody. I saw some pictures.
But the match should be on the wrestling page. Okay. If not, I can contact Chad Cross and see if we can try to get that footage and stuff to you. Just because of the fact that, man, to me it's awesome. And as we see right here, Christian's watching live, and he's like fire, you know, with three flames up. Yes, bro. Yes, bro. Yes, bro.
So he went through a flaming table.
He went through a flaming table, and as a matter of fact, I'm handcuffed to the pole over there, and I'm seeing, you know, I mean, the fire's not going out, man. You know, I mean, Christian is still, I mean, he's still literally on fire, and I'm freaking the hell out because, you know, I mean, it's like, yeah, Brody slammed him through a fucking burning table, man. And took a while for the fire to go out.
I
but
bet you the fans there were going crazy.
Oh yes, that match, man, that match was crazy. And I mean,
go through a flying through a table that's on fire. Oh,
yes,
man.
yes. And actually, that brought out the ECW chants too, man. Because I mean, it's like we had fans that just, you know, they brought out the holy shit in the ECW
I love
chants.
the old school ECW.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that's where you could go off script, and I don't think that you would ever get in trouble for something like that. You know, I mean, which it's amazing. Like, if these guys go off script on me, and there was a few times this year where, you know, I mean, I had one guy, which is my champion, Ricky Vidal. Yes, he actually went off script on me a couple times, and I kind of flipped out a little bit and maybe dropped a little bit of F-bombs, you know, in front of the fans and stuff, which I apologize for now. But hey, you know, I mean, it's in the heat of the moment. You don't know what's going on, but, you know, that's you know, these are my guys, and, you know, I gotta, you know, I love them regardless whether they can, you know, I mean, they can be dickheads or if they can just bring it, you know, and follow the script on what I want to do, because, you know, I mean, if they're a dickhead, I'm gonna be a bigger dickhead. So, yeah.
With the way the world has changed, and you get people offended easier, does that make it harder as a wrestling promoter to try to come up with the storylines and stuff, so you don't like you don't piss your fans off where they won't come back. But
Not
most
so well.
That actually-
most wrestling to me, most wrestling fans know it's a show, and
Yeah, well, I mean, do you bring that up? We actually had in that at that show where we had the fans bring the weapons match. We did have fans that actually there was a couple. There was a family of fans, basically the mother, the father, and maybe 2 kids. And she's like, if this is what you guys are trying to promote, then we won't be back. And it's like, we build this match as a fans bring the weapons match for months, I mean, at least for a month, a little bit over a month. And, like you didn't think that you was going to come in and watch, an episode of Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, right? I mean, it was going to get pretty, violent, and it was going to get pretty intense. So
only,
I mean,
it's only one match.
Yeah,
it's not like the whole
yeah.
show
I mean,
is
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that was the main event. That was like the call to the ends of what they were doing and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, pretty much. But our shows, I like to pretty much keep everything as family, family oriented and family friendly as we can get. But sometimes, man, things do happen. And I mean, you just got to take the good with the bad, and I mean, people are going to get offended no matter what happens, and to this day and time anyway.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're going to get offended, by the way you look, or by the way that just the way you talk, or something like that. I mean, you can't keep everybody in life happy anymore. It's just not going to ever happen that way. And you've just got to be 100% to know that, I mean, hey, if you do it, you just there's an opportunity where you may lose fans, but you still don't worry about them, because with them fans, I guess, that you would lose, maybe you could attract, like 10 or 15 more. So that's what we tried to do, and I think we've done a good job with that. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's like I've been completely satisfied 100% with everything that come out of our organization this year. And like I said, you can't give back enough to most of the people that get you where you need to be. And right now I want to thank Dave Mumau for supplying the building for us, Alliance Event Center for this year, and making Aacw that their arena and their home for the last year. Thank you very much, sir. Hopefully we continue to do business 100% with each other. But like I said, now we will be in the process of trying to find a different location to do our shows. Because some of the we were restrained with some of the things at that venue. Like you guys seen it, the guys couldn't actually do anything over the top.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do anything off the top rope and stuff like that, because it was an old bingo hall that had like they had drop ceilings and stuff like that. And I just don't like, some of the guys kind of felt like they were restricted with not being able to do work off the top rope, but they always brought it 100% for every show that we had this year. So, and that's one of the things that I got to show them love for.
I think maybe like in a weird way, the ceilings being so low, it makes it where you gotta kind of work the crowd a little more. You know what I mean? Like you have to do other things to make up for not being able to do the high flying stuff. Which, in my opinion, I like to see people work the crowd more, and that's more of what I'm a fan of. Is somebody that can really work the crowd and get you invested.
Yeah, I mean, the guys had to really ad-lib a lot of different stuff.
Right.
And they had to really like expand their criteria a little bit and try to expand things a little bit on how they worked in different ways. But, I mean, the thing about it is, in the long run, we have, I like to refer to a lot of our locker room. We were working this year with a skeleton locker room. And we had a lot of guys that had to pull double duty, and like I said, some of them had to do different stuff. We had referees that became wrestlers. We had trainees that became, throughout there, they were actually become referees. We had people pulled out of the crowd, to become wrestlers and stuff like that. So we really had it all. But like I said, it really, no matter what it was, them guys, I got to take my hat off to them 100%, that no matter what it was, I always felt like that we entertained this year. And after the show was over, we always felt like, I always felt like we always give the fans something that they could be happy with when they went home, and they smiled and they come back to the next show.
That was our first show being out. We had a blast.
Yeah, I mean, and
Like I
hopefully,
said, hopefully be able to do some more with you guys.
yeah, most definitely. Like I said, I was very pleased that you guys, you guys actually put us out there into your, you know, your fans, like some of the fans that you guys have, and you guys attract like people would know who the AACW was, and if you guys wasn't there. So I mean, that's one of the good things is if we can continue a partnership and do something like that. I mean, it's like you guys always have a home in my promotion as far as I'm concerned. And that's usually the way that I am. I usually don't really shut the door on anybody from coming to work for me. Sometimes I've learned that in this business, man, you have to eat a lot of crow, because you are going to have your naysayers. You're going to have the people that really hate on you. And, you're going to have haters because anytime you're doing something that is, good, or you're making some noise somewhere, you're going to have people that try to bring you down and hate on you. And so you just take that with the good with the bad, and just try to rise above that. And the thing about it is like we'll try to make things happen. So I'm seeing Christian Taylor here asking Christian Cash versus Ladies Man Mike King. It's a possibility. I'm sitting here reading all these comments
Yeah.
now. These are I mean, it's that show sounds insane. Will you guys have another fans bring the weapons match in your promotion? That one to me was very special, and I think to have another one would probably have to have like some crazy things go down that where the guys would actually have to have that happen again. I mean, because when you run storylines and do stuff like that, you also you have an end to all ends. And I mean, if that would have to be the match that would have to end all end, I would probably say that I mean, there could be another one in the works sometime down the line. But yeah, man, I mean, like I said, I just don't really, I love the fact that, I'm here. Number one is being able to talk and being able to, shed some of my knowledge and my light on the wrestling business. And, you guys have been great. Since coming up and doing stuff with actually giving me promotion, not even knowing who my wrestling name was, my working name, because you just asked me like, what is your wrestling name? And I knew that because when you guys were doing the advertisement, you guys like didn't put my gimmick name up. So, I mean, but it's all cool. It's much love, I guess, because I never like give that to you guys. So I should have been like more demanding on trying to say, hey, it's J.H. Hulk, Shane Cowsert. So, but hey, we're here now. We're here now. We took care of that, so it's all good.
What do you think is one of the hardest things about the independent scene for the young guys that are trying to come up in the business?
I think personally myself, man, like I said, I think that one of the hardest things is somebody really believing in you and trying to give you an opportunity, because a lot of these guys, like if AACW hadn't have been there, and if AACW hadn't have been doing what they were doing this year, like a lot of these guys that I had in my locker room probably would never got a chance to get in the wrestling business. And I mean, that'd be a shame, because like I know of, like some of the guys that, some of the guys that we have, man, haven't, like expanded out to other places. I mean, I just see now that Jordan, he's on the upswing to doing that, kind of aligning himself a little bit with Hollywood House and stuff like that so he's got that going on with him. It's getting his person out there, getting his character out there and his personality and everything like that. Christian right here is saying they called Christian Cash the people's champion. That was fire. Because his favorite wrestler is The Rock, and that's why he got the insta hard on. Because I mean, it's like, hey, they call me the people's champion. It's like, but yeah, man, I think one of the biggest things is, I mean, it would have to be, trying to find somebody to believe in you, a promoter to believe in you, and then them giving you the opportunity. If we want to go back and talk a little bit about the history of where Christian Cash was. This cat started, man, at when we were doing Front Row Live, man. He was an entertainer, he was a rapper, and we had the wrestling ring set up in the back, in an area that was up there, and he walks because he had left his backpack after a performance in the front. And we were back in the back, just kind of chilling out and just sitting there and stuff. And he comes back to get his backpack, and he's like, "You guys got a wrestling ring here?" He's like, "That's dope. That's fire." I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool, man. Go ahead and jump in there. Go ahead and jump in there." And he gets up there and he takes another dude out, and he starts, the dude's sitting there, and they're working over spots and doing stuff, and he's not really, he's doing moonsaults and shit in the back, and just talking a bunch of shit. And eventually, my guy Aacw, he's recording this, right? And to this day, he's got it on his computer, and we're gonna put this in footage sometime when Christian, it's gonna be in a like a blooper reel, and we will bring this shit out. But Christian just getting his learning that way, man, and starting it up. I'm like, get up there. So when he started, man, he come in and he trained. He trained out for a little bit, and for the Animal show, when Animal was there, I had him a ring announcer, and he just took a lot of stuff. He took some knowledge from Animal and stuff like that, and Animal said, if this is what you want to do, go for it. So an opportunity come along where somebody that I was, when Christian was going to get his debut match, Justin Terrell basically didn't have an opponent that night, and he looks at me and he says, "Give me Christian." And I'm like, "Yeah?" And he's like, "Yeah, give me Christian." And so when that happened, basically Christian and Justin, man, they got together, and Christian, to me, he's like, "Man, I can't work him. I'm like, "Why, brother? What's wrong?" And he's like, "Because I'm not good enough," and he's thinking in his mind that, Justin's a main event guy. I've got him in every main event. He's like, you can't hang with him. I'm like, "Brother, just chill out. Just chill out, man. You'll be fine. Everything will be cool. Just let the butterflies, take subside. Let him go down a little bit. Let him drop down. And, you guys will have a perfect match, man." And that was, like I said, after that was, that was another, a proud father moment that I had, is watching him entertain. And then him and Justin had a, 6 or 7, I think it was anywhere from 4 to 6 matches against each other. And then Christian had aligned himself in the process with Travis Southern, the Knights of the Squared Circle. And Travis ended up, after Christian's final match against Justin, Travis ended up turning on Christian and dropping him in the middle of the ring. And Justin come and saved Christian from Travis, basically. And, basically Christian and Justin formed a tag team. And then within, 2 or 3 shows of them tag teaming together, they actually become the first, AACW faction of BBOW champions. So that's very, that's kind of the backstory. And everything comes full circle, bro, because Christian, to watching who he is as an entertainer now, and the love that he gets from the fans and stuff, I had a part in that. And I was, because I give him an opportunity and believed in him, he has the opportunity to go out there and entertain. And it's been that way with me for, a few other guys too.
We saw Christian Cash again last Friday in Indianapolis.
Yeah, he lives in Indianapolis.
He was at the on that WCWO card that we went to watch. He was there Friday night. We was like, "Oh, okay, we just saw him like a week ago." Right. But it was cool to get. It was cool, like, because we knew who he was.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. But yeah, I don't want to spend all the time.
Shout out to Shane.
Yeah, Shane Eugene Timmons, SWS. He's also a podcast guy,
Yep.
Man. He has a lot of our talent on there. Great dude, great friend. Always been ever since he come in, man. He became a fan of, I think like our second show.
I planned on getting a hold of him to see if he wanted to maybe do something together.
Good dude, man. Great dude. Much love for this cat, man. He's given me nothing but been humble and giving me a spot on his podcast and stuff like that.
Well,
We've done one, but
he's been sharing our stuff.
Right.
Too.
Yeah, because
I appreciate it,
man.
Yeah, the thing about it is, man, like I said, I want to, that's what I kind of want to dip myself into a little bit. I want to do the podcast thing, not so much just as, I want to do like everyday stuff, man, where I can just talk about life, man, life, love, and everything in between. It's because like I feel like I have a voice that needs to be heard. Whether people want to agree with what I got to say or not, I don't really give a fuck, because, opinions is what make the world go around. And you know, I mean, if everybody had the same opinion, there wouldn't be anything to talk about. So, you know, I mean, it's like I said, man, you know, I probably times when I try to lean on you guys to try to figure out what's going on, and you know, like all of us trying to do the same shit, man. We all cover different stuff, man. So, you know, I mean, like I said, but much love goes out to SWS and most of the other guys and stuff like that. Like I said, you guys are definitely cool cats, and you know, like I said, we've been going live for an hour and 10 minutes, man. And I got, you know, I'm just getting started, so you know, I mean, I got all
can't
day.
believe it's been an hour. It don't seem like it, does it?
Who were some of the guys when you were younger, maybe like the guys that been at the top of the business that you maybe influenced your gimmick and influenced you as a character?
Basically, you know, I mean, I always feel like my character, which, you know, Jordan talked about history, and my character has always been history, because what we've done here relevant to AACW these days now, my character hasn't really been a part of. But, you know, from 2014, you know, on up to on up to I think it was 15, 16 maybe. 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there, you would know, like, if you can go back and see some of the stuff of J.H. Hogg, you would know that, you know, I mean, I could bring it and I could do some shit. So hopefully you guys will be a fan of mine. But basically the influence, I always felt like doing the hillbilly gimmick, like, I always felt like the WCW, the WWE version of the Hillbillies, which was Hillbilly Jim, Uncle Elmer, and stuff like that. I feel that those guys really wasn't like tell the story of a hillbilly gimmick. I mean, because it's like actual true story about J.H. Hogg is myself, but J.R. Hogg was the guy that actually was basically wanted me to come out and be a part of his gimmick. And he basically had a little hand in Cousin Junior, because Cousin Junior was actually J.R. Hogg's tag team partner in the Memphis area. So they done a lot of stuff together in Memphis. Well, Junior got the call to go to WWE, and he couldn't really do the, you know, I mean, like, he had to do some of the regular stuff. I mean, you know, that political stuff actually happens, and, you know, I mean, we know it happens. It happens in big time promotions. You know, I mean, we heard that with the Click and stuff like that, and it actually happens in independent shows too. So Junior actually wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing, that the company felt he was doing, so they had to give him his release, and he come back home and, you know, done some other stuff. But he had that gimmick out there with the Hillbillies and had that chance to go out there with Uncle Elmer and Hillbilly Jim at the time. But the natural hillbilly gimmick would have been done over the independents. And I really have to say that, you know, I mean, I really take offense to some of the guys that really work the hillbilly gimmick now, because they don't know what the hillbilly gimmick is about, because they don't know how to work the hillbilly gimmick. The hillbilly gimmick is very special, and in my eyes, the hillbilly gimmick is always to be worked as a big midget. I mean, that's the part of your gimmick. That's what you guys have fun with the referee. You know, everybody watches midget wrestling and how fun midget wrestling is. That's what a hillbilly does, and that's the part of my gimmick that, you know, I mean, that when I stopped entertaining, and I was, you know, I mean, that's the part that I miss the most, because, like, you know, you can do some fire stuff, man, when you're a small guy, big guy stuff. And I actually have to, you know, give a shout out to Johnny Crisis. Basically, that was the last match that I ever wrestled, and it was a big man, small man match, and we kind of had a little bit of fire, man. We had some special shit. So, shout out to you. You actually was the guy that actually, basically, if you could think about it, you was actually the one that ended J.H. Hogg's in-ring career. But for the record book, it was Mike King, and I will get even with you, ladies man. But the story, the kind of like the backstory to my character, when I started in '92, I started as the BBOW's version of the Executioner. Black tights, black hood, you know, black no, not Hog versus Terrell. Oh, Terrell's talking about one of the best matches.
Oh, all kinds.
Yeah, we do. Justin Grubbs says Hog versus Terrell one more time, bro. You know we can't make that happen, my brother. But the backstory to me was when I first started working in this business, I started as the Bad Boys of Wrestling's executioner. And, like I said, man, I come out with my gimmick was a hangman's noose. I come out in the hood. I had a black hood. I had a black singlet, black trunks, black tights, everything, just solid black. Done some TV spots for, I think at the time it was IPW or some shit down in Indianapolis. Getting my ass kicked by Quicksilver and Diamond Dan Garza. I actually got my ass kicked by Dice Man Ronnie Vegas too. So, I had been on TV, like regular TV and stuff like that for spots. So, when that actually happened, a lot of people at the time, I had worked, I think 7 years as the executioner, and I had put a lot of people over, man. Troy Miller, Quicksilver, Johnny Lee. These are Indiana guys like Cousin Bubba, J.R. Hogg, these guys like that. Well, we had at the time, everybody knows Dusty Rose and Sweet Sapphire. Well, at the time, Juanita had just gotten released from WWE, and she was doing some stuff because she lived in St. Louis, and she was an old friend of J.R. Hogg, and we actually contacted her to do some stuff with us at Bad Boys of Wrestling. So, true story, man. Sitting over in my mom and pops, and in their kitchen, she just looks at me, and she's like, "Baby," she's like, "You're too pretty to be underneath a hood." And so, at that point in time, J.R. Hogg was there at that time, and because she said my eyes were just, she said my eyes were beautiful. So she's like, "We can't have you under hood." So JR come up to me like a couple days later, and he's like, "Kid, he's like, I'm getting older. I can't take the bumps anymore. So how would you like to get the bibs on and take a part of my character?" So I'm like, "Yeah, it's cool. No problem, man. I'm all in for that because it gets me out from underneath the hood and gets me a spot where I can actually go out there and kind of entertain, be cool with everything."
Be able to work the crowd more.
Yes, exactly. So that happened. And, at the time, I had my name as J.D. Hogg, and everybody knows Dukes of Hazzard who J.D. Hogg was, a little fat guy walking around in a white suit. That wasn't me. I was a long-haired hillbilly dude that wore bib overalls. So, it's like, okay, can't happen. We got to change that up a little bit. So then I took the moniker of J.H. Hogg, not knowing at the time and realizing until, years down the road that was actually a tribute to my grandfolks, to my pop's mother and father, because my dad's father's name was John Henry, which the initials were, as Jake Harrison, the initials were JH because my gimmick name was Jake Harrison Hogg. And so John Henry, that was the first part of my name. And then my grandmother's name, her maiden name was Hogg, H-O-G-G. And that was, and it's funny how when you think about that, it's like, whoa, that just became out of nowhere. And that's an awesome story that is just like, it's amazing because when it brings me around, man, and the things that I done, and the love that I got back from the fans over the years that I was there, and being able to take, Justin Terrell under my wing and, basically teach him the ins and outs of the business and watch him do that to other people now, such as what he's done with Christian. It makes me come full circle, man, and show appreciation to this business. So that's, and that's where you get to the part to give back. Like my part in this business now is to give back, to the guys. And that's what I say is like, that's where I fall back on this, somebody believing in you and giving you an opportunity. That's what I'm about, man. That's who I want to be known for when I'm no longer around. That's what it is, because there's a lot of people that don't do that.
That's awesome, man. It sounds like you was raised with good morals, man, and I really respect you, man, and your hustle and your grind. I respect that a lot, man.
Most definitely.
Because times get hard, man, and like you said, man, your dad passing away, and to keep things going and keep things rolling, that's impressive, man.
Well, he actually passed, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the show, and everybody's like, you need to cancel. And, it's like, nah, it's not going to happen. And, at that point in time, we were going to actually make our first champion, and it's like, we didn't have a champion yet. So, That's the only reason why, I ever carried the title was because everybody's like, hey, we thinking, because of you losing Pops, you need to be the first champion, put it down in history. So, that happened. And I believe my first loss was to my student, Justin Terrell. That was the first victory, and then I defeated him back. That was my first loss as champion, and then I won the title from him back, and I think that's when I got dethroned as champion as Mike King. So I mean, there's a lot of history back there with some of these fellows, and hopefully we can create some new history with a lot of stuff, and you guys will be a part of that, ACW history and stuff. I mean, future history and stuff like that, because like I said, man, you guys have opened yourself up, and I'm feeling good right now. So I mean, hit me, come on, bring the questions, man. I'm here.
What would be the best advice that you could give to a young guy that's going to get ready to start in a business?
The best advice is basically what I would tell somebody is shut your mouth and open your ears, and be a sponge, man. Absorb everything. When you get a chance to be in a room with a bunch of people that have been there, especially if you're on shows with guys that's been to the big time, just kind of look at their reactions, see how they are as a person, and just absorb everything, man. Be a sponge, because I mean, like, a lot of people go in dressing rooms, man, and they like to toot their horn and say, hey, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that, and really they ain't done shit because they haven't been anywhere. I mean, it's like I'm a tough dude, man. I mean, because it's like, I had to be in a locker room with a bunch of guys that you had to show respect to. A lot of these cats that are working in shows now, they wouldn't have been able to be in the same locker room that I was in '92 and growing up that way. And, I mean, like, talk about kayfabe. And, kayfabe, she pretty much doesn't exist anymore in the business. These guys made sure that there was still kayfabe there. I mean, it's like a lot of people won't understand that term, but if you're a wrestling, I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, you're going to know what that term is. See, and this right here is shut your mouth and open your ears. That's exactly what I give him, man.
It's weird, man. We live in an era now where it's like people don't respect their elders, man. Don't respect who came before them. It's like I don't know if it's social media or what, but like we live in an era where it's like people look at someone older than them as like a lame. Or like,
nah, man.
And it's like, man, that's who you're going to learn from, and that's who you're going to get your best advice from, someone that's been there and done it. And it's like the era now, it's like these young kids, man, they don't have no respect for the elders.
You get a lot of people think they deserve it, and don't want to work for it.
You don't deserve shit, man. You work for what you get in this lifetime. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything.
Exactly.
Everything that's going to be given to you, you're going to have to work for it, man. If you don't want it, somebody else is going to get it. You know what I mean? Like I said, man, nobody owes you anything, and that's what the way of the world today is. There are too many people, not only in wrestling, but it's too many people in life, man, think that you owe them something. I don't owe you shit. I mean, it's like you work for what you get in this life, because if not, you're going to suffer. You ain't going to have nothing. And I mean, it's really crazy because, I mean, like, we can basically base, like, some people can base, like, their I mean, it's the disrespect, man. I mean, and I think a lot of it boils back down to social media, because we have a lot of, keyboard warriors out there that they can't talk, I mean, they talk shit, they can't bring it out and talk like face to face. Yeah.
They're not saying nothing.
Yeah. I mean, if it's face to face, they're not going to say anything. Like, I've had problems with guys, saying that they haven't had a payoff, they haven't had a payoff for Hog and stuff like that. Well, Hog always tries to get you on a payoff, but I mean, it's like, if you have a problem with Hog not paying you off the day of the show, don't fucking talk to other guys about it. Talk to me. I'm the one you need to be talking about. Don't be trying to bury my name with these other guys that, I mean, because these guys might not have the same situations, because we have different relationships with different people. Yeah. And I, like I said, I might not always do the right thing at the time, but I will always make it up to you at some point in time, because show days are very stressful, because a lot of people tend to me, They tend not to give me the respect by calling and telling me like the day before, or like 2 days in, or maybe an hour and a half before the show, or not even give me a fucking reason why they're not at the show. I mean, like literally, it's 6 o'clock on a few shows that we've had. It's 6 o'clock, and I've got guys who aren't even there, and I haven't heard from them for for a day or two. And they don't show up. So how do you think that what's that make me feel? How do I have to work around? I have to work around the card, trying to put the card together, and that sets everything back. I mean, it's like be respectful. If you've got a problem with me as a person, as a promoter, and you think don't go talk to somebody else and run me down. Come talk to me about it, because everybody knows that we hardly ever discuss payoff with me. I ask you if you want the booking. If you want the booking, fine. If not, fine. I don't care. But we hardly ever discuss anything like that, because the guarantee is, if you want a guarantee, say if you want $50, you ought to be able to put five fans, which is $10. Each one of them. That's your $50 right there. Put five fans in the seats. Then you get your guarantee payoff. Okay, that's how you make money. But it's not up to me to try to give you that money, because you're the one out there trying to push and I don't restrict your gimmick. What you do is you go out there, and I may be killing myself as a promoter by saying this and speaking this way, but it's the way everybody ought to think, bro. Because if you don't push your gimmick and be who you are, nobody's gonna know who you are. Okay, you've got to push that. You've got to want that extra stuff. If you've got gimmicks, go out there and try to sell them. You're going to do that. Like do the extra things you need to do, man, as a worker, to try to get your name out there. It's not over me. It's not all about me trying to get you out there and give you a rub, because I'll give you a rub when you deserve it, when you need it. I mean, my guys know that are basically on the roster right now. They know that I respect them enough and have enough believe in them, and I have given them enough this last year to where they have trust in me. And I've got these guys actually give me a trophy that said thank you for everything I've done for them this year. Do you know how much that meant to me? It's like not ever do you ever really get that respect. Yeah. And I mean, there's guys that they don't feel that in this business, and a lot of guys aren't built that way. But for me, my job in this business is to help the cats that are coming out there now and trying to make a name for themselves. You come work for me, I'm going to try not to restrict your gimmick as much as possible. If I fit, we are a fan-friendly show. So if I have to pull you in a little bit, reel you in a little bit, that's going to happen. But it's going to be to a minimum. And, you make me believe in you, I'm going to give you a shot, because I give back. I give back to the guys for what they do to me, for what they do for me. My heavyweight champion, Rick Vidal, he got the spot. Travis Southern got the spot for things they've done for me. Justin Terrell got the spot for things they've done for me. Christian Cash, it's everything comes back full circle, man. And if you treat me well, I'm going to try to find a way to treat you well. But it's disrespect that people bring out there, and all the hidden heat that people have with you. There's cats that, don't talk to me now for a reason. I don't know why, because I never thought we didn't have any heat. But, it's like it just happens that way, Maybe I'm a dick to these guys, but, hey, I'm pretty much down to earth, bro. You think I'm a dick?
I don't think so.
You think I'm a dick?
Nope.
So, I'm 100% with it.
First time I met you was out in the parking lot of the building when we first pulled up. We talked probably about 15, 20 minutes or whatever, and boom, we were setting up. And
I told you to go in and do your thing, didn't I?
Yep.
And, I was happy to have you guys aboard. So, it's...
hell, you came over, I think, I can think of at least 2 or 3 times during the show to make sure everything was going good. Do you guys need anything?
If you're serious about...
You let us know, because we had to start a little bit late, because DJ wouldn't DJ...
Yeah.
And you came over and let us know, hey, it's going to be about 10 minutes.
He worked third shift, and he was a little bit late. Didn't have the music set up and stuff like that, which, I get it, because, it was a shoot life that, and it wasn't his fault. He's third shift guy, and he actually he had to leave before the show was over to go take care of his job. He's got to do that, because we've all got shoot lives, man. We got to live that shit. So, and it's, I try to take care of my people, man. And if anybody says that I don't, then fuck you, because you're a hater. And that's the way it is, because, I'm good to I try to be good to everybody who's good to me,
That's what I try to do. I try to treat people how I want to be treated, and if you're good to me, I'm gonna be good to you. If you don't want to talk to me, fine. I'm not gonna talk to you. That's, ain't hurting me none.
If you're a wrestler, man, and you really you're really wanting to make it, the opportunity to wrestle is worth more than any payout. You know what I mean? Like just the fact that you're getting out there and you're wrestling, and you got people like us that are showing up to shows, and you're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. You can share it. I mean,
But
that's worth a lot of money right there.
a lot of these cats won't even do that, bro. You know what I mean? They won't take the extra minute to share their shows and shit. They just think that they come in, they work their 10, 15 minutes, and then they just go on about it. You know what I mean? I get it, but that's the part of the business that's been lost because, like, a lot of guys don't believe they have to pay dues anymore. You see some of these shows where you've got, like, superstars, like Hall of Fame guys that are still out there going to a regular fucking independent show paying dues. Like, most recently I seen pictures of fucking, I think it was Jimmy Hart, and he's always been good with this because I've worked on shows with Jimmy. And Jimmy was always, he'd set up.
Jimmy?
Yeah, most definitely in Kokomo.
Okay.
Jimmy Hart, yeah. Yeah, he was part of a Heroes and Legends show. Basically, it wasn't Heroes and Legends. It was actually I can't even, Dream Reunion show. The other promoter that was in Kokomo that I tend not to really talk about anymore. He had times where he brought in Jimmy Hart, and Jimmy was like a big dude, that was like we focused stuff around, and he's had a lot of time to spend with Jimmy, but set up the ring, set up chairs, do stuff like that, man, and put your time back in, man. That you never get done paying dues in this business because you always give back to the business, man. Because if the business is giving something to you, give something back to the business, And I mean, there's a lot of a lot of other guys, like say for instance, like Joey Owens, that does some stuff up in WCWO in Indianapolis, man. Much to you, Cat, you run every fucking week in Indianapolis. And knowing how hard that is, and that's a third generation, operation up there, which Joey's the second part of that. But, they've been at it for years, man, and still going strong up there. And it's hard because we tried to fucking do something every month, and how hard it is just to do a monthly show. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to do weekly shit, man. But hats off to you, and Joey's a good guy, man. Love Joey. He's been a friend for years. Actually, when somebody tried to drag my name in the mud over a few months ago, Joey actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, man, don't worry about that fucking dude. He's just trying to get some. He's trying to get some tout off of you. That's it. He's trying to get his fucking 5 minutes of fame. So it's crazy how this business.
Speaking of Joey, right there he is.
Where you at?
On the screen. Chopping me.
Oh yeah.
Yes, man. Joey tore Chris up.
Oh yeah, they got me good that night.
You should have seen his chest after this, man.
But like I said, man, it's just one of those things, man, that you have to understand that in life, bro, you have to like take your opportunity. And like if your opportunity's out there, take it and grab it and run with it, because like opportunity doesn't come along all the time. So when you have a chance for opportunity, man, opportunity's there. Take it and grab it and run with it until it's over. So hopefully, like I said, man, you guys have given me the opportunity to come up here, talk freely for an hour and 32 minutes, and I still got many talk left in me. So hopefully, when you go to cut this show up and it's live, people say, "Oh, we've heard enough of Hog, man, for an hour and 32 minutes." So hopefully, we can keep going, because like I said, I got all night. So come on, hit me with the questions, man. I know I'm kind of going off track here, but that's me as a person, man.
I think this has been great.
That's me. That's me as a person. If you know me, man, I'll be talking one way and I'll be here one way. We'll be at, we'll be talking maybe about,
Who's like the biggest star that you've got to work with or that you've met in the business?
Oh,
have
man.
a relationship with?
So many.
And are most of them guys, the legends like that, the older guys if they've been in WWE, WCW, whatever it was, but are most of them guys usually pretty good guys, or are easy to talk to, or some of them dicks?
No, some of them are dicks. Some of them are dicks, yes. The thing about it is, look, Jared's cutting in here. He's like, This motherfucker. Some of them are dicks, yeah. But I mean, I think it's to who they are as people, man. You know, I think that it's personality, man. It's who you are. And by the way, Jared, you did say you'll need a lunch and a supper for that one, right? That's what I did think you'd say. You better pack your lunch and a supper for that because I'm gonna be able to talk a lot. But I think that the most friendly, I think, as far as like in all is who it would have been like a tie between Road Warrior Animal and the Barbarian, because the Barbarian to me was my first experience, and not taking anything away from the time that I met Rikishi, because when I met Rikishi, it was kind of difficult because they had just gotten in from Indianapolis, and it was like he was tired as hell because he had just come in from Indianapolis, and all I could do was try to pick his brain about Sasha Banks. So it's like that's all I wanted to talk about was Sasha Banks. So, I mean, I can understand how that would have been kind of complicated, but no, but the Barbarian and Road Warrior Animal, I think, were probably the two biggest remembrance for me, because of the fact that the Barbarian was just like after the match was like when we had time, like downtime, and we could kind of just chill and talk about stuff. And I mean, I got a lot of good stories from him, and I mean, he was just down to earth, like where he was just like, it was just like where basically
Jared.
Basically what it was, I mean, he was just so genuine and down to earth about everything that happened, and same with Animal. Seeing Road Warrior Animal as the type of person he was, and how he kind of
I've heard a lot of good things
yeah,
about it.
how he kind of went with the fans and stuff like that. Basically how he was so nice and letting the fans, like at one point in time I'd seen one of the fans that had went and got like 6 or 7 different T-shirts that he wanted to have Road Warrior Animal sign, and Animal wouldn't say anything to him. He just kept signing them. I mean, it's like kid wanted one for his brother, he wanted one for his sister, he wanted one for his mom, his dad, and everything else, and basically seeing that, just to me, it made me feel that those guys, I wasn't wrong by having those guys like being a part of me, that I liked them somewhere down the road, because I got to see their interaction with the fans and how they were to the fans. So, I mean, that was kind of special. But the one that was kind of like I got a chance to share the ring with Pat Tanaka, and he was actually the first guy that had been in a like a WCW, WWE feel, AWA feel, wherever we're at with that. And I had always said that I would never be able to wrestle a star, and I mean, that was my first attempt at wrestling, or like sharing the ring with a star. And I was pitted in a tag team match where Pat was actually doing the Orient Express with one of his trainees, and I had a wrestling gimmick where I was sharing, it was the Hall gimmick, and I was sharing it with another cat that basically showed me no respect after I had given him the name and done a lot of stuff for him. Basically, he was like just thinking he was completely so much better than me. But I would tend to I would kind of keep the body slam out of my repertoire when I would do like an independent show, because going to pick up a guy, or have a guy, as we know, wrestling is a dance, and the guy would post, like independent guys wouldn't post for a body slam, so when I'd go to slam him and follow through with everything, I would end up fucking dropping them down, setting them down on the mat, doing whatever, following through with a move. On the follow through, I would lose my balance and fall on my fall. So it's like I would tend to keep that out of my my list of moves, whatever I'd done with that. So Pat calls that in the ring, and I'm like, oh, no, we're trying to put the match together and stuff like that. And Pat's like, let's do a body slam. I'm like, bro, I can't do that. He's like, why? What's up? And I'm like, well, the independent guys, them guys are never. He's like, bro, don't worry. I'll be there. Don't worry about it. I'll be there 100%. So I was like, okay. So when that time come, man, and the body slam went down, boom, with a scoop slam, pick him up, drop him down, stand solid. So, I mean, I literally felt like I had accomplished something after that. After that, yeah, I know, Jared, you were a fucking bag of potatoes every time I tried to pick your ass up. So, yeah, horrible balance. Yes, it is. But, no, but I mean, totally, when that happens, and, I was able to see that part of You know, I mean, where everybody had suffered through all that stuff at one point in time, because those guys have been in our situation somewhere along the line where, you know, they had been, you know, the
I think
guys.
that's what people forget.
Yeah. I mean, because I think that it's pretty safe to say that every pro wrestler actually started as a fucking backyard wrestler. I mean, because
And probably what 80 to 90% wrestled in independence.
I mean, we know that, you know, there's videos out there about Mankind, you know, Mick Foley and Jeff Hardy and those guys. So everybody got their start the same way. So
Jared said he gave you the best matches of your life.
yeah, you give me some, bro, but you know, I mean, the thing about it, yeah, I've had a lot of good matches, but yes, and like I said, they were a lot of good matches.
Ladies potato.
But they were a lot of good
Ladies
matches,
potato.
and like I said, man, like I said, I love you for that, and I thank you for everything, you know, for sharing the sharing the ring with you. It was completely a fucking it was a chore, and it was a pleasure. So yes, and as Jared says, man, Animal Joe was an amazing, such a great, genuine guy. He definitely was.
Oh yeah,
So.
he's told me some pretty great stories.
And that's one of the things about it, man, is like when you get to hear stories from people who have been with guys that like we have liked over the years and we're fans of. I mean, that makes it so much more real. But if you have the guys that hear the stories that like of guys being dicks, then it's like, I thought he was a fucking dick. You know, I mean, it's just like, you know.
I've ran into a few guys that have been dicks. But for the most part, the stars that I've been lucky enough to meet, most of them have been real friendly, and they would talk to you and stuff. But I have met a couple that
Scotty
were dicks.
Too Hot, he was cool as hell.
Yeah, Scotty Too Hot.
He was ready to go. He could go out to
One
eat.
of my favorite guys that I've actually got to sit down and have a conversation with was Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, he was a fun guy. I mean, when I had a chance to meet Jake, he wasn't cleaned up, so Jake was really fucked up when I was able to meet him. And yeah, it was kind of a trip watching him that night, because I was kind of like both ends of the spectrum, because I was like thinking to myself, like, how could you be so fucked up when you come to a show? But then not knowing what he went through and stuff like that is, you know, not knowing what his life was and going through everything that he went through, man, it's got to be hard. And like, you know, a lot of people find a way to, a lot of people try to, you know, they try to hide the true person. And, you know, they have a hard time to try to deal with stuff. And Jake's had a very rough life, bro. And to see him now and know that he's hopefully in the right place where he needs to be and stuff like that, man, you know. But I mean, like I said, it was still kind of cool seeing him, because even though it was like on the bad aspect of where he was at, and like he wasn't clean and he was really messed up when he was at the show and stuff like that, but I still, you know, got that autograph, and it was still an achievement, because I was able to, you know, I mean, able to sit down and talk to Jake, even though it was kind of a bad experience, you know, watching him try to put his money in his he's trying to put his money in his tights, basically. And I guess he was wrestling in the karate gi, and he had no underwear or something on, because he'd stick the money in, and it'd fall out through the bottom.
You saw that too? Yeah. That.
It would fall out through the bottom of his pants.
He done that.
So
he put his money in like a Crown Royal bag and stuffed it in his pants, and the money was falling out during the match.
And I mean, it's not knowing, man.
At Ross Center? Here in Muncie one night.
The referee's going around picking it all up.
Saying,
and
Jake, I have your money.
And not even knowing that he lost the money, man. That referee could have, you know, I mean, he could have told it. He could have took everything from Jake. Jake wouldn't even known it. But, you know, I mean, like I said, it was still an honor and a pleasure to meet him too. You know, I never got really a chance to like talk to him as far as like share some of the stories in the back with him or stuff like that. But, you know, I mean, like just seeing him and getting the autograph and stuff like that from him as a real person. But, you know, I mean, the one that I must say that it was really cool about was Ric Flair, because I was actually doing a security detail.
I would love to meet him.
I was doing a security detail for him, and I guess we wasn't supposed to get any autographs or anything from him and Lawler. And I mean, it's like there was a time when there was downtime. I just walked in there and, you know, put the figure down in front of him. So, you know, I mean, it's like, hey, I was doing stuff free of charge and on my own time, and you know, I mean, to me that just paid off. But since that happened, never been able to go back up to security and work for them again, because he said he lost like over $1,000 in you know, in sales because of getting free autographs. But I got mine, and I loved it for that. So I
I'd
mean,
like to meet him and Jerry Lawler. I've seen Jerry Lawler perform at one of them Heroes and Legends shows.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, man, I just was able to tune into Ric Flair's podcast, his first episode of his podcast yesterday, which was kind of amusing. So that's going to be kind of cool to see, that moving forward and stuff. To hear some of the questions and stuff that he's got.
And if he gets
or
into some of his stories,
yeah, most definitely. So.
Go ahead, Steve.
Oh yeah, I was just kind of curious, man. How do you feel about like modern day mainstream wrestling, like WWE and AEW?
Brother, it's hard for me to sit down and watch a regular, broadcast of it because, I mean, I don't know. I just don't think that. I don't know. I think that wrestling has kind of lost its feel a little bit. I love what AEW is doing, I guess, but I really don't follow their product. I mean, to me, I think that they're just somewhat, in my opinion, I think they're just an oversized independent promotion because that's like how a lot of their people, basically some of their regular people got started, but now since they've been, saturated with talent that WWE's releasing and they're picking all these people up, they possibly might not have enough space for some of these people because, I mean, they're basically picking everybody up.
And they're getting
that
these guys.
They're
getting some of these big name guys, not putting them in no storylines.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can't have storylines for everybody.
Yeah.
Because the people. But I think that once Jericho decides to kind of step away a little bit, that may kind of pave the way for somebody else. But then again, I think that they kind of need him for some of their ratings and stuff because
he's carried them, in my opinion.
Yeah, Jericho, like to me, and I always believe, man, I don't know, there's just some part of me that thinks that they've got to be working somehow with the WWE because, like, the WWE just doesn't. I wouldn't feel that would like give their talent away to them and just like give them a chance to, just be it. I mean, I've always thought that. I mean, but as you say that, I'm pretty high on and pleased to see the forward momentum that Thunder Rosa's got because she was actually a part of our show when Rikishi was here. She's under our banner for AACW, and man, that was one of the greatest. Her match with her former tag team partner Holiday was like one of the greatest women's wrestling matches that I ever seen, and like the fans wanted more, but yet they didn't want to give them any more. But I'm 100% a fan of hers from when I seen her when she come to my show, and she worked under our banner. And to see how she's progressed with everything she's done with AEW and her doing with her, the wrestling promotion she's affiliated with in Texas and stuff like that. I definitely follow everything about her. And, I don't know. It's just they've not yet to get one of the favorite guys. Like I think that, seeing CM Punk when he premiered there and he come out there, that was actually a big movement. And I think all the Punk fans was 100% with that, but they
haven't got him in anything yet.
They haven't basically took somebody away that that could find my interest to make me want to basically watch their program on a regular 100%. But I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit curious to see what WWE is going to do with Steiner's boy.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Braun Breaker.
I think that they're probably going to. I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Did it surprise you that they didn't use the Steiner name?
Yeah, I would have thought that they would have somehow.
He looks just like him.
Yeah, he looks. And he's pretty much pretty much got. That's the son of Rick Steiner, but yet he's got like Scott Steiner's he's got Scott Steiner charisma.
I was gonna say he's like a mixture of both of them.
Yeah, and it's kind of like. Basically, I'm kind of surprised that they done that, but the thing about it is probably a good thing that they did, I guess, because I don't know. There's just that could be, I guess, both ways, but I think that they'll probably drop the ball with him, like they've done so many other times with some other people.
Because I think he could be a big star.
I'm completely disappointed about the Fiend with everything that happened with Bray Wyatt and the Fiend because I think that was almost one of the best characters since the Undertaker. But I guess it was the fact that maybe he was a little bit difficult to work with and handle on some of the stuff. So I guess when that happens, I mean, you have your boss has no other. When you get difficult to work with, your boss has no other alternative but to say, "Hey, man, hit the bricks." That's kind of the way it goes. But so yeah.
Since we started doing this and talking to a lot of the independent guys, to be honest with you, like I am now, I find myself I watch more of the independent stuff than I do like the bigger organizations now.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so much stuff that I mean, some of these guys that are going to do the shows every weekend. I mean, some of them you have stars. That's like, you have stars like in some of them. So, I mean, just like I said, like I think we have like if in ACW we had two guys that I think could be, not taking anything away from some of our other guys that we have there, but we have two guys that, I mean, if they stay in this business, they could possibly be stars somewhere down the road. But also too, if you're an indie star and get a chance to go someplace else, most likely they're probably going to strip you down and retrain you on how they want you to work. So you're not going to be able to take your knowledge and everything that you have inside there to go and perform that way. So you basically will have to retrain yourself how to work the business.
You have more freedom in the independent.
Yeah.
It's more of your vision than.
Plus,
I mean, you work
true.
with whoever the promoter is, but you, like you said, you still get to do most of your stuff.
Yeah, they're not going to give you the freedom, bro. And I mean, like with people getting freedom, I mean, with having freedom and being able to.
Bottle of water?
Yes, please.
Or Mountain Dew. I think that's the options I got.
Yeah, man, and anything's fine. So, but with anything, man, you have option. I mean, you have options, and they're going to retrain you how they want you to work. So,
yeah, I think. I don't know. I just think wrestlers on the independent scene are just. Because like I don't watch much, to be honest with you. I don't watch a whole lot of WWE and AEW anymore. I go back and watch all the old shit all the time, but
that's when wrestling was wrestling, man.
Man, it was so good.
I mean,
the dudes had character, man.
And
they were more relatable. Like I feel like the problem when I watch wrestling today is like these are just big dudes, but they have no character. They have no like charisma, or like they're just big dudes out there throwing which is cool, and I don't mind watching it, but like I just want like somebody that has character, man. I can buy into this guy, and I can like Stone Cold, he comes out, he throws up the middle finger, and beats his boss up. It's like, man, I can everyone can relate to wanting to beat your boss up. Like I just think that dudes back then had more character.
I mean the thing about it is like, could you? I mean, I know I'm kind of like going to be poking a little bit of fun at Mike King, but to relate to Mike King and him being the ladies' man, he would have to walk out to the ring with like a dozen ladies on his shoulder, but that doesn't happen because, he walks out there just by himself with a little baseball bat. And it's like, how can you relate to Mike King? I mean, and you guys basically, when you guys had the biggest pop for Mike King when he showed up at our show, which was awesome. And like I said, to relate to Mike, thank you, sir. To relate to Mike King, hey, man, go to your local strip club and find you some girls and put on your arm and, say you are a ladies' man. Make people believe that you're the ladies' man, Mike. I mean, it's like, okay, I love you, brother, but add something to your gimmick because, like, you can't say you're the ladies' man and not bringing any ladies out.
That is true.
It definitely could happen. Plenty of women.
It used to come out like Godfather used to come out.
Like,
yeah,
like what's his name?
Make the hoe train. I mean, but no, there's characters and guys that you can be relatable to on the independent scene because I mean, like I said, they have to work hard to try to I mean, they have to work hard to try to push that gimmick over and try to be something special because you're going to a new town. Or you're going to a new promotion. A lot of it's hard for some of these guys to get in because like some of the same. I mean, like us, we use some of the same guys, and like for new talent, like I would like to have a talent rollover where other guys come in, so where you have the fans have a different basis on trying to get different talent and see different faces. But a lot of us are used to seeing the same people on the independent shows, and sometimes it's hard to break the card. I mean, going back to, when I first started the business, man, they were running Hoosier Pro Wrestling in Columbus. And I had went up there because Johnny Lee Osborne that worked, that was Bad Boys of Wrestling in Kokomo, would go up there and he would referee. And he would do referee, and he would do, some spot shows up there as a manager and stuff to manage Dice Man Ronnie Vegas. Well, I had been going up there for months, man, trying to break the card. And, I think like 6 months in advance, it's like always trying to break the card, never could break the card. And it's like one day I get up there and it's like, the main event was Dice Man Ronnie Vegas in a Chicago street fight against, I think it was, the guy was billed as Junkyard Dog Jr., I think maybe it was, Deputy Dog. And he couldn't make it because he had something happen. And so I go to break the card, bro, and it's like he's the promoter's like, hey, you got your grip with you? I said, yeah, always. And he's like, go get it. You're going to be wrestling tonight. They wouldn't tell me who I was wrestling. I'm like, what's up? What's going on? Wouldn't tell me. Dice Man was, pretty cool with my pops. And he goes out to my pops. My pops is sitting out there in the audience, and he's like, kid's going to be a superstar tonight, Pops. He says, he's got me in the main. I'm like, I didn't know this, and I'm like freaking out, right? So
you heard it from your dad?
Basically, it was like, Ronnie had told my dad, and it's like when I got back there, and then it's finally Ronnie's like, everybody, he's putting the card together, and I'm like waiting for my card. Where am I going to go? And next thing I know, man, I'm looking, and I'm in the main event against Dice Man Ronnie Vegas, who is their heavyweight champion in their promotion, and I'm freaking out. It was a Chicago street fight at the Armory in Columbus, man, on a rainy night. It's raining. They got the big door open. Me and Ronnie were walking all. We're going all around, fighting all over the Armory, man. And it's like shit. What's going on? So it's like that right there, man. It was my first. That was my first. Basic spot to get the big time. And I really feel like I performed at that point in time like on a higher level, because at the time I was doing a different character. I was doing like a character where it was kind of like I was rolled back to primetime swine. So I kind of had like everything where I was like airbrushed, and I was letting my hair down and doing all kinds of stuff. It was kind of a cool gimmick. But it was nice, man, to be able to go in and break the card and be able to share the ring with Ronnie at that point in time. And, to know, if Dice Man Ronnie Vegas really doesn't give you a lot. But that night, man, I must have gained his respect because he gave me my dues, and he let me have a lot of offense. So, for that, my brother, I thank you, and I love you for everything that you've done for me along the way too. So, it is me, man, trying to give back, and it's just constantly, man, me trying to give back to the people who give to me.
When you get the chance to wrestle them guys like that, are the bigger name guys, can you, like, when you're in there, can you feel them guys that they're like bringing you up to another level than like if you're in there with a guy that's not a bigger name?
I really think that comes both ways. I think because I think it's not so much just no, Jared, not true. I think that it really doesn't matter if you're wrestling the guys like that, or if you're wrestling just a regular opponent, man. When you're in the ring and you're working somebody, and you hear the fans giving back to you after you're there, and it's kind of like the appreciation from the fans, with me being pretty much a babyface all the time, showing that appreciation. I mean, that's what really gets you high, because like you get that adrenaline and you get that work, and it's like, man, I got to keep going. But
I want that again.
Yeah, most definitely. But everything, I would never take anything away from, any of the guys that, I worked throughout my career. Every match was always a learning experience, and always put you to the next step for the next one, really. I mean, because either you knew of a spot that didn't work that you wouldn't try again, or, it just, everything
find
just
something little.
Yeah. You had to find something different that would work. So, a lot of things, man, but this whole business is a learning experience. So, and it's great. It's done a lot of good things for me. I mean, like if I hadn't have been involved in the wrestling business, I wouldn't have been able to meet some of the people that's been had a major part in my life. So, I have to I have to, this is Thanksgiving, and I have to thank a lot. I have to thank, my involvement for pro wrestling for most of the friendships and some of the beyond friendships that I've had, because most of them, they've turned out to be great things. So
we've been lucky so far, because everybody that we've met, it seems like have all been real good dudes. And like most of the promotions we went to, like we went to DCCW, dealt with Mike King, but it feels like a family.
Yeah.
Whether you go to WCWO, it feels like a family. We go to Aacw, it feels like a family. So everybody's just, they welcomed us just like we've been there. Like when we went to you guys, it was like we'd been there 2 or 3 times. It didn't feel like the first time. And the same way with the other guys, because all the wrestlers, the owner, the wrestlers, even the fans have treated us well.
Yeah,
we did get flipped off a couple times at your show, but
by who was that? I wonder who that was.
Some little kids.
Oh yeah, probably the one that was probably probably a girl in the front row.
Yeah.
She probably heard you guys giving shout outs to Mike King. And basically that everybody has a running joke that kid is my daughter, because it's because a lot of people, because her mother has been like my biggest fan over the time, and I'm not a hugger, and this little girl always tries to come over and tries to trap me to get a hug, and I always I'm not a hugger, and I'm not going to give hugs because I don't really hug. I'm not a hugger. But everybody's kind of got a running joke that's my kid. So, but all these guys are my kids.
She turned around Wiley, that manager Wiley.
Right.
He came and sat with us for a couple matches. Well, she turned around. She told him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So
and I'm sure you've probably seen it. We were cracking up laughing.
It's always fun when you get a rowdy kid like that. In the
I forget who it was. Somebody was in the
business.
ring, and they were the fans started chanting, "He's a pussy."
She was going at it with
and you look around, and you see all these little 8 to 10-year-old kids, and they're right there with their parents, pumping their fist. He's a pussy. And it's like, hey, this crowd is committed. I like this.
No, it's great, man.
good.
That's when you know you're doing your job right, man. Is when the people are going to do that stuff. So it's awesome, and that's what I love about the indie promotions, man. They bring that. You can't be that. You can't really do that if with the big times.
And like when Mike done his thing with you, and he was on the mic talking shit there at the end, there was like 10 people that got up and headed toward the door, and all the way to the door, they're giving him the bird all the way to the door.
Mike Keegan on the mic talking that nonsense.
I love it, because it just shows that the fans are committed to it, and that it shows you guys are doing your job.
Yeah, most definitely. But yeah, it's a business, man. That Kokomo crowd is a crowd of their own. Yes, that's true. We have a lot of good people there, and they've always brought a lot of heat for Mike King when he's been there. They love to hate that dude.
He told us out on the way up there. He said, "Kokomo loves to hate me."
Yes, most definitely. But not only him. We've had the fill of other people. Because our fans are, they're wrestling fans, bro. Especially that crowd was my crowd. Legitimately, when I would entertain, it would be my crowd, and then when I stepped back, it became Justin and Christian's crowd. And haven't said enough about Brody Bodkins on this podcast. Brody Bodkins is a guy that they love to hate. And, especially the thing with Travis Southern and what's going on with Brody Travis and Maui, which is not his name, but that's what I call him, the Hawaiian Hitman.
I'll tell you what, he's a big dude.
The gold standard right there, man. They're definitely doing their job because the crowd brings the heat for them, and they love to hate him. So,
Brody's going to be on the show Friday.
Really. Yeah. Brody, man, he's great talent. Great talent for a big dude. He's most definitely he's done a lot of great stuff for me this year. And like I said, the future's so bright just because of the fact that some of the locker room that we do have, and some of the people that we bring in from coming in from other areas and stuff like that to work with and stuff like that. Hopefully, we can still continue to bring some of the greatest stuff to Kokomo fans. But like I said, man, I'm here right now loving this, and I'm to your guys' fans, so I love it, and they get a little bit of JH Hogg if they haven't seen him. Maybe they can go back and look at AACW lives, old school lives, and maybe they can see some of my stuff there.
See, that's
And
the other thing I like about this is like we go to your show, and there's a lot of the fans that we've gained from your show that I see that are commenting on some of our stuff now, and then like you being on here, I'm sure some of our fans are going to start going to your guys' page, checking it out.
hope so.
It's just
Y'all gotta
it's
go
cool
check
how
it out.
everything can work together if you just communicate with people and treat people,
yeah.
show people respect.
What do they call that? They call that what is it? That they have like a I lost my train of thought here, but they call that like it's not marketing, but it's like
Networking.
networking. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
There you go.
I feel like that's what I said on the show one time. I said, I feel like, I'm not in the wrestling business really. I kind of am, but not really. But I feel like networking and respect will go so far. And if you're a wrestler,
Well, it's not just in wrestling. That goes
Anything.
any kind of
Right,
business.
true.
I mean, if you're trying to do business, if I'm trying to do business with you, if I don't show you respect,
Right.
you ain't gonna want to work with me.
exactly. And you got to put in your dues, which comes with respect,
go to the archives to see Hogg, yeah, because that's the only place you're going to see him anymore. He's in the archives, so yeah. But nah, man, it's been it's been a good ride for me. It's been a good ride. So I love this because like I said, I've done 2 podcasts this week. Hopefully, if you guys feel a need to have me on some more,
We'll definitely have you
shit,
on again.
I can sit and talk about shit, all day long. I love it.
Definitely.
I'm having a good time right now.
What does the future hold for you now that you're not going to be in the ring anymore and you're just going to be more of just doing the stuff outside the show?
Basically, with me not being involved as character and storylines and stuff like that, it gives me an opportunity to step back, kind of see our product, see if we need, where we need improvements, see what we need to do as far as like, different things I want to try
frees
to
your time up a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. And then basically try to, I've got a passion, and I've always done it to pretty much independent shows, which I used to do it to Aacw over in Marion, where I would go in and I would take pictures because I'm a freelance photographer, so that's one of the loves that I love to do is use a camera. So it gives me a chance to go in and kind of like I'd always hang out close to the ring and stuff and get some good action shots of the wrestlers and stuff like that, and give them opportunity to have photos and use photos for like stuff that they needed to, man, for like gimmick photos and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I want to kind of focus on a little bit more. Is maybe do that. Maybe, like I said, do like have like our own podcast going. Most definitely like having you guys there also too. But one for us and us doing something as a podcast, and kind of like, and just kind of like overseeing things just to see kind of like where we need to make improvements and stuff like that. So, that's pretty much basically kind of like be a coach to some of the people and stuff like that, because. It's always about giving back, man. It's always about giving back, especially with me. If you guys don't know that, I think that you guys are going to, understand that that's the type of person that Shane Hogg is he likes to give back.
Do you guys have a training school for like the younger guys that come in and start training, or?
Yeah, we did. Well, we did with our building. We were able to have the building with the ring set up and stuff like that. We were able to have it open. We were having it open Tuesdays. I think it was Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
Oh, okay.
When guys would come over and they would try to practice their craft and practice everything that they need to do and stuff like that. And then like a couple months out before we had our last show, he kind of opened it up where he would have it open all every day. From I think 12 to 8, so it was open if guys wanted to come over. But a lot of guys, as at that point in time where we made it available for everybody, not just our guys, where people could come over and they could try to practice and stuff like that. Which moving forward, if we do make you know, I mean, because that right there was out of, you know, like the kindness of me basically giving back. So where guys, you know, there wasn't a fee or anything like that. But, you know, if when we make the advances forward, you know, some of that stuff will have to change because, you know, instead of looking at this as, you know, just kind of like a hobby or something else, it's going to have to be kind of run similar to a business where, you know, some of the overhead is going to have to. So, I mean, you know, guys can't, you know, won't be able to get that freedom and getting things given to them free anymore. It's like, you know, I mean, we will charge, you know, somewhat of a small fee. So, you know, we can take care of some of the bills and stuff like that, you know, that you have to have because, I mean, you know, I give an opportunity to people, but, you know, like I said, this, you know, it's just the fact of how things kind of work out. So, you know, things are going to work a different way, but as it is, you know, I wouldn't be taking that money personally. You know, that money would go back into the business, you know, things for the ring. Like if we need to, you know, we need updates and stuff like that. Yes. Because we do have some, you know, we do have some updates we have to make on our ring and, you know, we need a new canvas and stuff like that because our canvas is actually, you know, it's got a lot of age on it. And some people basically, you know, find it funny to come in. Like I had a guy that was coming in to do a special, thing and he actually done a TikTok where he was underneath our ring laughing at our canvas, having holes and shit in it. And it's like, dude, you just don't do that to somebody that's actually giving you a break to do something you never would have been put in a position for. So, you know, like I said, man, some things are going to change a little bit, but we do have, you know, at last year we did have the opportunity to give the guys a chance to come in and practice that shit. And, you know, Christian was basically doing there was almost a month and a half where he was up there every day, working out with these, you know, with the people doing stuff. So Christian Cash was. And we've had Rick Vidal in leading some training sessions, and Justin Terrell was in there doing some training sessions with people. We had a night where Johnny Crisis come over. So, yeah, we did have it available for people to come work out and stuff like that. And
speaking of Crisis, how long was he in the ACW? I know he hung his boot or retired at the last show.
I don't actually know if Johnny actually is retired completely or not, because I did see SWS that he done, and he said he's actually, you know, put his boots up for the time being now to try to heal his neck.
Okay.
But Johnny Crisis, basically him and Justin Terrell were basically the mainstays of AACW that were left. I think those were the only two originals that we had, which this last show that we had, Mike King was, you know, he's definitely a part of us from the first day that we opened up a door, but you know, he wasn't a part of our shows like most of the year until this past one. So but the two mainstays that we had were basically Justin Terrell and Johnny Crisis. So Johnny's, you know, been in AACW and been involved with AACW, and I've known Johnny for years. But since that would have been since 2014. So yes. But yeah.
What about the new is it the EEC champion?
Yes.
Damien DeVille.
Damien, I think
he was on the show Monday.
Yeah. I caught a little bit of that, but I wasn't able to watch the whole thing because I actually fell asleep. Just because of the fact that, you know, I mean, it wasn't boring or anything. Like, people were going to fall asleep because it's like, oh, this show with Hog is so boring. But it was just the fact that it was a little bit later at night, and I always tend to fucking fall asleep, like watching the news or some shit like that. So, but he's been, I think he started, let's see, like our second show.
No, he got a big pop.
Yeah.
From the crowd when he won the championship. That was.
I think actually that kind of worked out because he did, you know, I mean, he actually was the guy that actually, we had a triple threat, which actually took the title off of Travis Southern. And he was actually the guy that basically pinned Travis Southern to get Travis eliminated from the match. And a lot of people thought that he won the regular title. They thought that he won the AACW title.
He said he thought he got a bigger pop that night than he did the night that he won the title.
But, you know, I mean, definitely, he's definitely, you know, I mean, I know it's kind of hard when you're in the wrestling business to try to portray yourself as a MMA guy, because they're kind of two different things. But you know, I mean, it's kind of like that's the background, that's where he's at, and I mean, you know, and like I said, he's done a lot of good things, you know, a lot of great things for me actually, and you know, I mean, like I said, hopefully, you know, he continues to heal. He's got to heal himself up. I said because he was, I believe he said that you know he was a little bit you know hurt with different injuries and stuff like that. So once that happens, and you know moving forward, hopefully he'll be able to be you know take that title out there and challenge you know meet all kinds of different challengers for that championship. So yeah.
Yeah, DeVille was good, man.
Yeah, he was actually, I think he was actually trained and retrained and stuff. I think with you know had a lot of work with Congo Kong.
Yep.
And so yeah, that's one of his you know things that he can hang his hat on because he's one of Congo's boys, Congo's kids.
He told stories about traveling with Kong and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, there was a couple dudes in the crowd that kept looking at me and said, he kept talking about DeVille. He kept pointing at him, said he's good. He's the truth or something like that. I was like, man, they like DeVille.
He was
I kept calling him Cadillac DeVille.
I was gonna say he was
mad.
No, he was like that. You were kept mentioning Cadillac.
Yeah.
He was he talked about it.
Hell yeah, I
Right,
liked
right.
it. I liked.
Do you have a
DeVille name?
do you have any trainees now that you think that are going to maybe move up and be bigger stars this year?
Well, like I said, you know, we had like my locker room was filled of a bunch of greenies. I like to call them greenies, but you know, I mean, you never really like stop learning in this business. So, you know, I mean, I can still consider, you know, Tyson Lane and Axel Cruz. You know, I still consider those guys somewhat trainees, but you know, I mean, they're still in there because they've made their, you know, I mean, they've made their first actual pro match. But you know, I mean, like I said, you know, I think that a lot of people, you know, can like get better with, you know, continuing to practice their craft.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, it's like kind of hard to basically say that, hey, this guy's, you know, been in the ring. He's already had his first pro match. But, you know, I mean, still, as it is, he's still, you know, still pretty green to the business. So, I mean, I could still say, you know, with 30 years, I'm probably still would be considered a greenie because, like, I've never had the big time. So, you know, I mean, it's just the way it is. But, I mean, you know, like I said, it's just, I mean, that's always something that we want to try to do is we want to try to get a homegrown product and try to, you know, I mean, people that, you know, like I had a message today from one of the guys that actually said he was at the Y working out and some cat that was doing some boxing and stuff like that. And said that if I guess basically he's like, hey, if things don't go the way I want them to in boxing, then I'll kind of look you guys up and see if, you know, we can get something going. So, and, you know, I mean, we'd like, you like everybody else. I think sometimes, you know, when you have, I'd like to have like a female division in our promotion too, because, you know, I mean, it's not only that, you know, you have girls, you know, little fan girls that come out there and see, you know, go to these wrestling shows, and it'd be so much more if they could actually see a female in the ring, you know, performing and basically looking up like, hey, you know, I want to be like you one day. So it's, I mean, it's that right there to me is like, but, you know, I mean, it's like we had a couple girls that was in training and stuff, working out and trying to, you know, get their feet wet into the business. So yeah, moving forward, hopefully, you know, I mean, it's always, as long as we have an operational place where we have, you know, available to come in and do stuff like that, we're always looking for people that would want to train and be in the business. So,
is the Hawaiian Hitman, is he one of the guys that's normally on your guys' show?
Actually, Hawaiian Hitman, that is actually, he was brought in by Travis Southern, and that is Travis's hired hand. So, basically, you know, I mean, is pretty much wherever you see Travis Southern, you're probably going to see the Hawaiian Hitman, because that is Travis's, that's his hired gun, man. And, you know, like I said, wherever you see Travis, you'll probably see the Hawaiian Hitman. So, and he's got the look, man.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
He's
man.
freaking huge, man. He's
Yeah.
freaking huge. This
dude.
cat is huge.
He has the look, and he looked like he was pretty athletic as well.
Yeah. and he'll definitely be I think that he could go a long way in this business. You know, I mean, because especially working with Travis, you know, and getting some of the knowledge Travis has from this business. You know, Travis will do nothing but do him right. So, you know, I mean, that's the one benefit that you have if you get somebody that has a lot of knowledge and is not, you know, too afraid to share that knowledge with you.
What about like guys that are coming into the business? Do you get any guys that were like amateur wrestlers, and does like doing that kind of wrestling when they come up? Does that help them? Any? You think that would help any?
I mean, yeah. I mean, anytime you have something like that with amateur wrestling, I mean, that's definitely going to, you know, I mean, put your repertoire out there so you'd be able to work some different stuff like that. So, I mean, that's a plus. But, you know, I mean, this is sports entertainment, and it's entertainment, so you really don't have to have that part of what's going on to make that stuff happen because, you know, I mean, like I said, man, it's basically all you have to have in this business is you have to have a gimmick that people can relate to, and you can just be who you want to be in, and you make it what you want and then see where it goes from there, man. 'Cause that's pretty much what happened to me. And I've had a lot of love with stuff, yes.
And
That's awesome. Love the dog, man.
Scrappy getting his 2 cents in there.
and I'd also think that, well, not think, but like 2 minutes on the microphone can mean more than 10 minutes. 10 minutes in the ring if you use that 2 or 3 minutes on the microphone right.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, will you open that door and let him out?
Yeah.
Most definitely.
She pulled up.
Most definitely. You know, I mean, that's how some people will make their fame, man, too, on the microphone because, you know, I mean, like with Mr. Marvelous Mr. Bell or Mr. Marvelous, his moniker. I mean, that's basically, you know, I mean, he's made his fame, man, with you know, I mean, on the mic. So
yeah, they were giving him so much he was having trouble getting his stuff out there because everybody was just going crazy.
Yes, most definitely.
And you see guys that in the big time that they might not be the best in the ring, but they're big stars because they're good on the mic. They can entertain.
They can't do the stick work. I mean, like if you can do the stick work, man, you can. That's a part of your gimmick. I mean, like some guys have to have somebody to be a mouthpiece for them.
Like Paul Heyman.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's
he's a mouthpiece for a lot of people.
Yeah, but he doesn't really. I mean, I think Roman Reigns could probably do that himself. Yeah. But you know, I mean, it's like.
Especially now, I think Roman's gotten better on the mic.
I mean, a lot of it is just too. It's just how your gimmick is made, man. I think is the main reason. But I mean, not a lot of people are like free to be able to do the stick work because I mean, some people can't just like ad-lib and be able to say stuff like, you know, on the fly.
Who do you think is one of the best guys on the stick?
Man, the 2 best guys, it would have to be Stone Cold and The Rock. I mean, whether or not their shit was just, it was great, man. I mean, Stone Cold was one of the most enjoyable persons to ever watch in the business. And probably I'd say that The Rock outweighs him a little bit more on the stick just because of, you know, Rocky's stuff was a little bit different than everybody else, you know what I mean? But I don't know, though, man. Those guys are probably a pretty high tie with me. So, you know, I mean,
Stone Cold's a fucking man.
Yeah, most definitely Stone Cold.
Stone Cold's a fucking man.
I don't know. I don't know that.
That's one of the reasons my son is named Austin.
Yeah, I don't know that if you could go back and see anybody's like wrestling, like people that are in wrestling now, if they couldn't kind of like say that Stone Cold was a part of the reason why they got in this business. You know, I mean, want to make them, you know, because I mean, everybody, I'd do it every day. I wish that I could be Stone Cold when I go to work and beat the shit out of my manager every day. Yeah. I flip him off every day, but you know, I mean, it'd be much better if I could walk through and give him a stunner. You know?
knock him right in the mouth.
So yeah, and then hey, you know, my coworkers flip me, you know, toss me a beer every so often. I'm not a drinker, but you know, I mean, there's times when I feel like that'd probably be, you know, the time where I'd need to.
Tell you
say,
what,
hey, let's do it.
Whoever was throwing them beers had good aim because they didn't miss many of them. Most of them were caught.
Right.
Yeah, fucking Peyton Manning back there throwing it.
But the thing about it is, man, it you know, like we said earlier, man, wrestling is not the same as it is now as where it used to be. And that's why I find myself a lot going back and watching some of the stuff that, you know, I mean.
That's why I love WWE Network.
Yeah, WWE Network, which, you know, I mean, that's a great thing because, like, that's where you can go to like, learn because now if you had to learn from the guys that were doing stuff now, you wouldn't learn a lot of stuff because wrestling's not the same now as what it used to be. And, I mean, I learned stuff, I mean, Dusty Rhodes is one of my favorite guys, Junkyard Dog. Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant was like one of my all-time favorites, but like I said, man, the guy that I love in this business more than anybody else was Randy Savage. It's just because I would have never been able to.
The elbow drop off the top rope.
I mean, he was just amazing, man.
I used to love when he'd go out there and he'd get the bell.
Yeah.
He'd come off the top rope with the bell.
But The Undertaker, too, man. The Undertaker, you got to give him his ups because, The Undertaker done something that nobody else done. And that was be loyal to one company for all those years. And, there have been times when he probably could have jumped ship.
And he kept the kayfabe for
yes.
long. He was one of the last guys to finally.
Yeah. And he was the one that pretty much took control, I guess, of the locker room, too, and told people when they were stepping out of line.
Yeah, they'd done like a wrestler court, and he was the judge.
Yeah, so, the one thing about that is, man, is that dude, great, man. And I mean, like, I've had a lot of favorites over the years, but like I said, Savage is the one that stuck out the most, and it's the one that I like the most. So it's probably because I could never do anything that he done in the business, but
Oh yeah, I remember when I was a kid walking around trying to talk like Savage.
Oh, everybody did.
Trampoline, doing the elbow drop,
Everybody doing the and snap into a Slim Jim and shit like that,
Man, that's crazy.
So that's the good stuff, man. Wrestling, and I don't ever know if wrestling is ever going to be back there again. Hopefully one day it'll be that fun and entertaining as what it was, but I think a lot of it now to find the entertainment value is, looking toward the independents because, there's a lot more of those guys that can be entertaining. Like, like I said, I think that, at one point in time, I would have put our fans bring the weapons match against anything that they put on the basic mainline cable. And I'd basically put Jordan Bell on the mic against anybody, that runs the stick now on regular cable, on the regular promotions. And, he'd probably give him a run for the money. So
I think the next big thing is going to be something that comes from I think it could, because the way it is now, I mean, you could blow up on YouTube. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about it because I have ideas, but
definitely. Definitely don't talk about it because somebody's watching this podcast that's going to get there and they'll be like, okay,
just not even talk. We'll talk about it after the show.
Totally, because that shit's happened a couple times between, from conversations that I've had with another cat that, it's like we talk about something and then next time we look, then WWE's doing something that we talked about and it's like, whoa, shit, there's our idea. So it's like, they got their people out there, man. They've got their little bots out checking our shit out and trying to say, okay, well, no, how many times did they say WWE through a broadcast and, this and that? But, it is what it is. So, got to give everything love. But like I said, the WWE performance they have now is nothing like the guys that, paved the way for them.
How much different do you think the business would be now if WCW would have used their talent right and they were the ones that won the Monday Night Wars?
I don't know, man. That's kind of a crazy question because, because
you think about it, WCW had all the talent.
They did have the same talent, but
all their guys went to WWE and became.
But it's kind of the same. Well, yeah, I think, but it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of like the if factor where we're going to say right now is like in a few years we're going to say, well, how do you think that what if WWE would have used their talent?
Yeah.
As to what AEW is doing now, because, it's almost the same transition in my eyes, I feel, is because, it's almost the same situation where there's a guy with money that comes in to try to take, to try to drop WWE out. And, it's always been, hey, face it, Vince McMahon's about to the end of, he's about to the end of everything. So, I think that what you need to do is, my opinion is step down, let Hunter take over and see what's going on, but I don't think that's ever going to happen, because like most of the guys that Hunter's guys like that started, like the talent that Hunter brought in and that was working basically aren't there anymore. They've been released and they've, they're going to go elsewhere. So, but in the same instance, when these people get their, they get their 2 minutes of fame or whatever at AEW and their contract runs out and they're done, when they have other people coming in that they have to make other stars with, where do they go? You know, I mean, it's like, do they go back to the WWE? Because obviously the WWE will still probably be in existence.
I think they're too big now.
You know, I mean, but the thing about it is, you know, I mean, and I'm not in agreement with that. This talent that gets let go, bashing them for, you know, cutting them from their contract, because you had your minutes to fame. Not, you know, I mean, maybe you didn't get where you thought that you wanted to be, or the promises that they made to you, they didn't follow through with them. But you will be known for that time that you were there. You and
you didn't do it for
yeah,
free.
Exactly. I mean, you got paid for your time there. So, you know, I mean, it happens to everybody.
It's like me or you losing.
Exactly. It's like you losing your regular job, but you shouldn't be pissed off about it, because number one is you're going to have a chance to go out there and get an opportunity to work on the independents. Maybe you shouldn't go out and overprice yourself so where you could get more jobs where people could say it, but you'll have a chance to remake yourself and make yourself something that you couldn't have been probably there.
You might get that. Then you might get that call.
So
to go back to one of them places.
The thing about it is, it's a crazy business, man, and the overturn for the business, it just happens, and it happens time and time again, and it's boom, it's over and over and over, and that's just kind of the way it is. So,
like in the promoting part of it, or do promoters work together any, or most promoters just do their own thing because they're worried about growing theirs?
I mean, that could kind of be like. That could go both ways. I mean, like, because like there's been
back
offers.
To respect.
Yeah. There's been offers like that some people do have. If they're bringing a star in, they'll be like, hey, you know, maybe let's go to my show. Let's do a Friday on my show and do a Saturday on yours, or let's do a Friday and Sunday, or a Saturday and Sunday, or whatever. But also too, you may have guys that are like, hey, you know, screw you. I'm not going to give you the rub. I'm not going to help you out because I want to try to build my own thing. So, I mean, if you have a friend that's, you know, I mean, somebody that's some friend, and you guys still work together, and, you know, I mean, this business is supposed to be brothers working together to try to, you know, make something happen.
That's when the business is at its best.
But a lot of guys don't think like that anymore. So, I mean,
everybody, you got two. That's one of the big, not just wrestling, but I think with the whole world is you got too many people that's just worried about themselves.
Exactly.
And it used to not be, I don't know what changed it all, but it used to not be like that.
It's greed, brother. Everybody's greedy, man. Everybody has to try to get their own, man. And it's like there's enough to go around.
Yeah, I want to see all my people and all the people I associate with. I want to see everybody eat. I mean, if everybody's eating, we're all doing good.
Yeah.
Life's better.
Definitely. But,
social media, bro. It's how listen to music these days. I care about myself, nobody else. Like, it's just how motherfuckers are today, you know? It's just how it is, bro.
A whole different mentality.
It's a whole different mentality, bro. It's weird. Social media made shit weird, bro. I mean, especially for people that, like, I was, like, because there was no social media till I was probably, like, 15. You know what I'm saying? Because that's when MySpace came out. MySpace was, like, the game.
MySpace, wow.
That was the game changer. Because there was, like, AIM and shit like that. But when Facebook or MySpace came out, that was the first. So, like, we got to experience life without it, and then got to experience life with it. So it's hard for us to adjust to the way because, like, the kids these days, they're living in a whole nother reality.
Yeah, you got kids that are on. I mean, almost every kid you see, 3 or 4 years old, they're already on tablets and phones.
Know how to work a phone better than we do.
School, man, school. I mean, like they gotta do their classes and stuff on iPads and tablets now, and it's like. They didn't have that shit, man, when I was in school. You know, I mean, we were lucky if we even got, you know, TVs to play videos and shit like that. So, you know, I mean, it tells your age, man. It goes to tell you how this world has changed. And, like, I think everybody's lost their way, man. Everybody's lost our way with everything we've done. And, you know, like, the pandemic, you know, I believe it's all been political, and I think that screwed a lot of stuff over. But, you know, I mean, you have learned a lot of stuff from the pandemic that we're not just one-sided anymore, that you can order stuff online, and you can, you know, have them deliver it to your house and stuff like that. You don't have to go in and try to find stuff all the time. But, you know, I mean, it's crazy shit, man. This world is crazy anymore. It's not just wrestling. It's just about everything else, man. And it's, no matter where you go, you're still going to run into the disrespect and the people that just don't give a shit about human nature anymore, man.
Is finding people you can trust in the wrestling business probably one of the harder things about trying to work with people?
It is, man.
And
'Cause,
and I would say that's even for talent too, trying to find a promoter and people that you can trust as well.
It is totally, man. It's like I still live by the Stone Cold said DTA, man. Don't trust anyone, and I think that's pretty much the way life is. I mean, because if you got something, somebody else is going to want it. They're going to want to take it away from you. And I mean, some people you can trust, but very few, man. Very few.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's the way with everyday life.
Because if you really start to think about it, if I might start thinking about like my circle of people I talk to, it's not, or that I actually kind of trust, isn't very big.
Right,
I mean,
right. Exactly. So
you gotta be able to expect. You can like trust somebody, but you gotta expect the worst. That way, when it happens, because like you just never know what could happen, man. You never know who will turn their back on you.
that's my problem, though. I always try to see
the good in everybody.
the good in everybody, and then that's where you get.
It's also a
You
problem
set yourself
though,
up for
to see the bad in everybody, because I kind of have that issue, and I'm like, I need to trust people. I mean, I need to open up to people, but I have a hard time doing.
Not always though, bro, because people can take advantage of you there
Right.
if you get like that too, man. And if you think like that in a way, man. And I mean, it's best to
It's
not open up to people, because I mean, like, you got to be able to fill people out, man, and be able to know, hey, this person got to have my trust first before I
I'm really
open
good
up
at
to them.
filling people out, But I almost get to a point to where I isolate myself, and that's when it becomes a problem, because when you isolate yourself as a human being, you kind of go crazy. Like we're not meant to be isolated.
Right.
So,
yeah, totally agree with it. I mean, look at what the lockdowns and stuff done to everybody. So
right,
I mean, it made everybody crazy, bro.
man.
And we're still like almost 2.5 years into all that shit. It's like, when that's going to end. So, I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, man, I really enjoy you guys and really appreciate you guys having me on here today.
No problem. We appreciate you coming, man.
I mean, hopefully we'll be able to do this again.
You got anything you would like to plug or anything before we get out of here? I know you're still working on getting stuff ready for the next show.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out our next move. I don't have, hopefully, like, this has been an enjoyment. I know it's probably a little bit, people are like, 2.5 hours, I can't listen to that. But, it's been a great talk. I love it.
I'll be breaking it down into clips and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, but it's all good. But yeah, I just want to, just give a shout out to all the people that, I've come across through the years since this is Thanksgiving. Thank you very much for being a part of me and my character and everything that I have been in this wrestling business. Jared Bird, Mike King, ladies man, Mike King. Brother, thank you for sharing the ring with me. Justin Grubb, Justin Terrell, thank you for making me live out this dream through you also. Thank you for taking everything that I had given you and putting it out there to give to somebody else, as far as with Christian and some of the other guys. Christian Cash, Christian Taylor, thank you, brother, for everything that you've done for me for this last year and giving me a couple daddy spots. Aaron Cruz, Axel Cruz, brother, you are going to be a star. Thank you very much for having a success, your first match. I could go on and on. Dylan Lewis, Tyson Lane, brother, you are going to be a star also, man. Thank you for everything that you've done and everything that you've been about since I let you join in, everything where we're at. Twisted, being my guy, man, my referee that's always had my back through everything and trying to feed me in the right direction and trying to help me and keep me on point with everything. Jason and Michelle Grubb, thank you for being there for me through everything. My sister, everybody else that's not been there, that's been there through everything and helped me out. And for the people that I may have left out, like Johnny, Dice, all the people, G.W.R, that God loves some of you guys' soul that you're not there anymore. Thank you for being the biggest part of and making me be a success with J.H. Hogg. This is actually a great joy for me. So hopefully, if I did miss you and didn't give you any love here, the Johnsons, I don't want to forget you guys, man, because you guys still are out there and you guys still are the ones that still hold the Aacw championships, the tag team titles. So thank you for everything you guys done to this and had part of our history in AACW. So yes, it's just a lot of thank yous, and I may have forgotten some people, as such as Johnny Crisis and some of my locker room, as far as that's been through the thick and thin with this. But like I said, man, I get my own platform and do the other stuff. I'm gonna show you guys much love. So yes, thank you guys for having me on and being able to talk through this. It's been a joy. It's been a pleasure. My man, thank you.
Thank you.
Been a pleasure, man.
Also, I want to give a big shout out to you for joining us, because hey, for one, you made a pretty good drive to come here and join us. And I always think the conversations, you can do it over Zoom, but I think they're better when we're in person.
And yeah, man, make sure you follow AACW's page, man. Stay in tune.
AACW Old School Lives, right? Isn't that?
Yes. It's AACW Old School Lives. It's on Facebook. Yes.
And
I will share that with you. I think that's exactly what it is. So yes.
And then once they get their show announced and stuff, I'll be promoting it on here as well. So
and definitely,
to,
like I said, you guys are more than welcome, man. You guys got a home in my promotion anytime we do have a show. So like I said, this isn't the end of us being together. Hopefully, I'll be able to.
We'd
make that happen
definitely
again,
like to have you back on here sometime too.
I could definitely sit and we could talk about all kinds of other stories and shit. I love to talk, man. Like I said, 2 hours and 40 minutes, and love, man, much love. So peace, love, and happiness. Thank you, everybody who has been a part of this journey with me. Thank you very much.
You got anything else, Steve?
Nah, man, just appreciate everybody tuning in, hanging out, man. Thanks to the man for coming in, doing the interview with us. It was awesome, man. Just appreciate everybody tuning in. And Ben, y'all got to get to one of these wrestling shows. It was great, man. I'm telling you, it was great. ACW put on a show, baby. They put on a show.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. for Easy Money, a sports betting show, special Thanksgiving edition. We will see you guys then. Hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Peace. And then we'll go.